Welcome, everybody, to the Breachers VRML Season 3 NA pre-show. My name is Nightfire with 2 E's. I am joined by my co-casters, Martini and Gibular. Bob, how are you doing today? We'll start with you.
I'm doing fantastic, Nightfire, especially after that tremendous EU semifinals we had earlier where we saw Nexus and Sunset Ravens move on to become the EU finalists for tomorrow. Ton of great games that happened there. I highly recommend watching that stream back.
Yeah, it was a stellar start to the day, and we've got a lot of big games here this afternoon. Martini, how are you feeling?
Feeling great, man. I love seeing, we talk about it all the time. This is like the best of Breachers. This is the top
Really
players
is.
in the world. And it's just, I love seeing the crazy plays come out. Apparently the crazy upsets this season, by the way. Can I call them out? Because I've seen way too many things happen this season that just have not been the norm. And I'm wondering what is causing us, what's going on here? Is something in the air that I'm missing?
We'll dive into it in just a moment, because first I do want to lay out what has led us to this point, because it's been a long road of gameplay. It's been 13 weeks of regular season action where we have seeded the top 8 teams in the North American region. The way that the postseason works is that we take the top 7 teams from regular season and automatically qualify them into the closed qualifier, which we had last weekend. And we take the 8th place team, which enters into the Challenger Cup, which happened 2 weekends ago. So we've been doing postseason gameplay for 2 weekends in a row now that has finally led us to this point where we have 4 teams that have qualified through the regular season to the closed qualifier to now the final 4 and are duking it out for a chance at prize pool money coming in from our sponsors, Triangle Factory. We really do appreciate the support from them contributing in to that cash prize pool, which for first place to NA is no small chunk of change. $23,000 or $2,300 on the line for first. $1,000 for second. And ultimately, if we think about it, and I'll start with you, Bob, here, these teams are playing for money now. We're into the money rounds. If you qualify through in this best of 3, if you win your upcoming Final 4 best of 3, then you're guaranteed at least $1,000.
Yeah, that's why I always think this is one of the hardest stages to be the losing team, right? Because you're going to be just out of the money. If you win here, you're guaranteed to get at least $1,000 and 8 HyperX Cloud earbuds too. So you're a foot in the door to win and get that top prize pool. But losing here is hard to take, Martini.
Yeah, it's got to be heartbreaking for the teams to know that you're literally a round or 2 away from getting actual cash, from getting, one of the top 3 prizes and stuff like that. So it's got to be heartbreaking for them. But hey, it also, I got to say, there's still, even if win or lose, you've still come very far. You've done better than 90% of the people in the league. You've still performed among, above a lot of Breachers players. So I credit still to those losing teams because you still played amazing games.
Yeah, that top 8 finalist skin, something they've all earned right now. I'm sure we'll see it in effect, or maybe we won't today. I don't know if they've gotten them yet. But that skin looking excellent. We saw Gravy representing using it in last weekend. And I know teams are stoked about that. But let's talk about last weekend, Bob, because we've got clips. We've got some highlights. IV, let's start with them. How do they perform against Empire? I mean, they're coming in strong, I think, to this weekend.
Very strong, very strong. In fact, against Empire, they went 14-2. So it was. People didn't think it was going to be a very close game. That was the predictions that I had seen. And unfortunately for Empire, it wasn't. They just needed, a little bit more practice. But IVNA, strong, very dominant coming out of that. And they're definitely going to be solid no matter what stage of the postseason they're in.
Yeah, and then obviously Martini, Valor played a solid series as well, beating Havoc. I mean, that was the 4 seed versus the 5 seed. What are your thoughts on both IV maybe first and then Valor and their performance?
IVNA, I had some players reach out to my DMs and said, hey, if you went to grand finals, you win this all. I got to declare the IV era. Bob has said it potentially a couple different times. So IV is definitely in strong standing, great form. I mean, they were one of the few teams I said last weekend were clinical. They were, surgical. Like, how many other medical terms I could pull out for them? But that's just how That's how well they were playing, right? And Valor, though, on the other hand, the only other team, by the way, I believe in the playoffs last weekend that also won into with IVNA. So I think they're not going to be a slouch for the IVNA players. At least that's what I'm hoping. I want to see some amazing gameplay there.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be fun as we watch the replays coming in here from Valor. They did an excellent job up against their opponent, Havoc. And I'm interested to see these two undefeated teams, right, Bob? Because at the end of the day, neither team has lost a map yet in this closed qualifier, in this single elimination bracket, so to speak. And so, I mean, where do you see this first series going? Because then we obviously do have another series coming up, Aspect and Apex. We'll talk about that in a second, but I'm curious on your thoughts here.
So I think a lot of people say that this is going to be an IV sweep. I don't think it is. I think Valor's going to put up a very good fight. I think it's going to come down to the wire. And honestly, I'm not quite sure. I'm tending to think maybe Valor might be a stronger team here. But, then I look at that IV gameplay and I can't help but think maybe we are in that IV era. So I don't really know. I don't have a solid prediction on who's going to win. I think it's really going to come down to the wire.
Yeah, the matchup shows IV have won last time against Valor 18-10. So Martini are leaning IV based off of history and current IV play.
Yeah, current IV play, they're playing amazingly well here. But again, I can see Valor forcing this to a map 3, right? Even with the overtime, I can see them playing that well, maybe capturing one of these games and one of these maps.
Let's talk about our second series of the afternoon, which is going to be Aspect and Apex, the battle of the A's. Bob, I'll start with you. How do you feel Aspect's going to be doing coming into this after beating Formula 3?
Both teams, I think, are coming in with a lot of confidence, especially because, Aspect beat Formula 3, Apex beat Acer. And, this is another one I think it's going to get really close. We're probably going to head into 3 maps for this one, but I feel like maybe Aspect might have a leg up here. I think they were very coordinated when they beat Formula 3. They've got some solid shooters on their team, good utility play. So it's another one that I think they're going to be strong in. Of course, Apex, they've got Blaze. So, they drop double digit kills in all of the maps. So again, going to be close. Maybe Apex, maybe Aspect. I don't have one that I'm leaning towards there either.
Interesting. Martini, how do you see this one going? Obviously, I mean, I'm looking at this match history, and it's like both Apex and Aspect new to this season, too. I think worth noting that they unrooted historic teams in the VRML.
They were, I talked about this so much this past week, they were one of the biggest upsetting teams here, both of them in their own rights here, knocking out both previous grand finalists for several seasons, right? So if I were to choose one, I'm slightly leaning Apex. I looked over a lot of their Acer gameplay, and it just had too many clutch moments. They had, for what I consider one of the clutchiest plays, where it was them against Acer on factory defense. They had, Acer had everything in the pocket. It was economy, it was defense, it was full buys, it was XYZ, and Apex somehow still beat that. And I feel like that tenacity from Apex is what's going to maybe tip things over against Aspect here.
Yeah, we'll have to see which team comes out on top. The prize pool is here. It's on the line. There's a decent chunk of change available thanks to our sponsors. A quick shout out again to Triangle Factory. They've been supporting the VRML since we started with our first season and even into the preseason. They've been tremendous supporters even now of this season. I think they've helped elevate the stream to a bunch of people out there as well. So if you are new, welcome in. Matches start in 15 minutes time. We'll be diving into our first map, but I did want to quickly shout out Triangle Factory for supporting this season in so many different ways, including fantastic updates to the game. Bob and Martini will talk more about those when we do get ready for that first map, but we do have to now get ready for an exclusive interview, a town hall, if you will, where Gibular Bob grabbed all of the team captains from all of the final 4 teams in North America and got them together to chat. It's interesting, it's fun, it's a new form of content that I'm happy Bob was able to put together for us. So Bob, thanks again. We do appreciate the effort you put in. Anything to say before we dive in to our town hall?
Just one more big thanks to all the captains that participated in it, and thank you for trying out the new format. And if you like it, let us know, because this was a lot of fun for me. It was a lot of fun for the captains. and we'll see if it's a lot of fun for you. But other than that, big thanks to the captains one more time, and good luck to everybody.
Matches start in 15 minutes. Don't go anywhere. North America Final Four coming up.
Straight in. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's a 1, 2, 3. That's a 3-piece thing. Raise right now. We got the 1, 2, 3 in the team. Say that. Oh, and the Hurricane from Luna gets it. He gets the 1. He gets the 2K in the end there.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Breachers VRML. I'm your host, Gibular Bob, and today we have our North American press conference with our semi-finalist captains. With me today, I have Crimson representing Valor, Big Lunch representing IV, Luna representing Apex, and Faded representing Aspect. Really quick, let's go ahead and reintroduce yourselves one more time for the camera, starting with you, Crimson. Tell us a little bit about you on the team.
I'm Crimson. I captain the newest team of this bunch.
Awesome. Big Lunch?
I'm Big Lunch. I'm the team captain for IVINA.
Nice. Luna?
I'm Luna, been around forever, and I'm the captain for Apex.
Awesome. And finally, Faded.
Faded and captain of the band of idiots.
That are, Aspect. In any case, just got a couple of questions for you here this evening. Of course, you're all moving on to the semifinals on Saturday, and big congratulations for that again. So, Big Lunch, we'll start with you. Of all the teams I've casted, yours by far has been the biggest user of that RL. You know, let me ask you, why is that?
Well, the day the update dropped, we all hopped on and immediately started testing it out, and we realized that it was like really valuable. At $2,000, you can kind of make it work always. So we just always put it into play.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I've seen that used by your team the most, and I think it's actually a really good idea that you picked up on that quite early. Now let's hop over to Faded. How about you were able to find a lot of early momentum against F3 on Dam. How pivotal do you think that was in the overall match?
It was a pretty good turning point because we didn't practice damn much, so it was pretty much just gunfight.
Yeah, it was a great start for your team there. So yeah. Now Crimson, what was the mental like for your team after that first round on Dam? 001 got that 4K kill streak at the start. Did that shake up the team a little bit?
We were mostly still intact. There was a little bit of doubt that we had to fight through, but the second we were through that, it was clear sailing from there. I mean, for my team, this is the first time they've ever been past close qualifiers. A lot of time for a lot of them, it's the first time they've been in a close qualifier. So a lot of nerves there, but getting past it.
Absolutely. Now, Luna, heading over to your team here against Acer. I think you kind of shocked everybody. You certainly shocked me with this fantastic offensive opening against Acer. You know, what do you think made those initial opening rounds so successful for your team?
Acer lost their aura of invincibility. The moment they the moment they had their first loss, it was downhill from there for them. The moment that aura went away, then all of a sudden they're a normal team, like the rest of us, at least mentally. So at that point, it was just kind of like, okay, cool, win our gunfights and don't die.
Now, heading over to Crimson, this is something that I noticed in the matchup, and Havoc didn't buy as much utility as your team did. I thought your team did a great job at investing that utility. Now, did you see that as kind of a lack of investment from Havoc as a weakness that you could exploit?
Oh, absolutely. It's a weakness from every team. Breachers has come a long way since preseason and season 1, back when things were very, very mechanics focused. That's why Acer had reigned this long. But as time goes on, more and more amazing players are popping up and starting these really strong teams. And as time goes on, it's becoming less mechanics focused and who has the better players and who plays as the better team and who plays the game better, not just who shoots better. So that utility really, the lack of it hurt them deeply in that match.
Agreed, very much. Now, Faded, Ship kind of proved to be that map that your team would like to forget. 7-1 against F3 on Ship. I gotta ask, how did you keep the team mental up moving into map 3? Because that was a tough loss to take early.
That's a tough one. Honestly, it was just jokes. You know, gotta do anything. I mean, we didn't. Sure, we lost our mental, but we didn't lose our gunfight skill, you know? Kind of just rebuild it on the next one, refresh mental, and keep it going.
There you go. Now, Luna, Blaze was a very critical asset to your team the entire series. They dropped double digits on all 3 maps. So will they be playing this weekend? And as a captain, what do you think they can attribute that skill to?
They will absolutely be playing this weekend. Their main roster, they're one of the best players in the game. Like, they're just gonna play well. I mean, their job is to shoot, and their job is to hit shots, and they do that better than more than everyone but like one player maybe. Yeah, unless they're just better than everyone else. So,
Okay.
Blaze, kill people.
So talking about some specific players, we'll hop back over to you, Big Lunch. Gizmo is one that I noticed that pulled off a number of insane multi-kills and clutches, especially over on Factory. I there are a couple of plays I can think of off the top of my head. I got to ask, how much kind of time, dedication, practice does it take to get to that skill level that he has?
Well, Gizmo's been playing for a super long time, I think even since preseason. And I've always been on a team with him since that time. So, scrimming almost every other day for like a year. Yeah, you're going to end up being one of the best players in the game. Plus, Gizmo's kind of crazy with the Knut and now the Urakan. Like, he's the only person really who can reliably use that and get maybe a triple kill with it every time.
Yeah, I've definitely seen he was lethal with the Knut, and the Urakan is definitely no different now. So Crimson, again, still talking about some specific players here. I personally saw Slitso become a menace on the roam, especially on Dam. They got an incredible 4K kind of in response to that initial one from Havoc. So with a lot of early picks and pinches from Slitso, why do you think those roams were so effective against Havoc?
2 main reasons. One, Slitso is an incredible shooter. In terms of raw mechanics, he is one of the best in the game by far. And that really helps him on those roams because when he fights 1v1, he's very hard to beat. The second thing is how Havoc did that push. They had no extra breaches in the break room. They just funneled through the hallway, which made it into 1v1s for Sleet. And that's where Sleet shines. So it allowed him to take advantage of the situation and just pick him off until there were none left.
Awesome. Yeah. So Faded, I wanted to kind of move on here. Walk me through that switch up play. It's the final round against F3. At what point did you make that call to switch up to the other side?
Okay, the entire time it was just a fake play. So our whole purpose was to just take ground, get kills if we can, and then go play on the other side. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully it doesn't. But yeah. We knew F3 was going to be really aggro, so kind of fed off that.
Yeah, so it really was a big gamble then. I was wondering, I'm like, was this the plan at the start? Is it something that happened on the fly? But it was always the intention heading into that round?
It was.
Interesting. All right, now Luna, I gotta ask, how did it feel to win against Acer on that final overtime round? Because that was I imagine pretty close for comfort.
I mean, it's as close as it would have been, but yeah, no, it felt amazing. I mean, my teammates definitely felt it a lot more than me. I've been in this place countless times, and this is a lot of their first time. So they were hollering, they were beaming around. I mean, you saw the post game lobby,
Yeah.
the cast didn't, but yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, definitely just such a hype moment. The whole thing. So, moving on, I want to get some predictions and some answers about the upcoming matches this weekend. So, we'll start off with you, Crimson. You're facing off against IV, who you actually lost to in the regular season. Are you kind of worried about facing them again on Saturday?
It's definitely been the forefront of my team's attention, prepping for this match. They're the number one team for a reason. We're treating this like it's the end goal. We always knew we were going to have to fight them at some point after we lost this season, and that time is now. We just have to trust that our preparations were enough.
Awesome. So, Big Lunch, I'm hearing this everywhere I go that we're in kind of this IV era now. Do you think you have that shot at the championship, at the win against Valor, and then the championship itself?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Valor, you guys are a great team, but we have been working so hard for this. I mean, 2-3 scrims a day. The underdog story in the beginning where we weren't playing so well, then an undefeated winning streak. Yeah, we got this. We're going to win it.
Nice. Love the confidence there. So, Luna, you're going up against Aspect, who are 5-1 as they headed into the postseason, and the last time you played against them, you lost. Do you think you have what it takes to knock them out and move on in the finals?
Oh, for sure. I mean, Crimson made a great point earlier. It just comes down to the chess match. So, cool. Do we outplay them? Do we not?
Awesome. And then Faded, the question here for you. You've beaten Apex before, but now they're coming off of a win against Acer. You know, so they were a tough team. Do you think you can beat them again?
We definitely won't go down without a fight. That's for sure.
Awesome. Well, I think that's about it that I have for the questions. And once again, we do want to thank our NA captains, Crimson, Big Lunch, Luna, and Faded, for joining us here in this NA press conference. And we do want to give you all very, very much good luck for the upcoming matches here on Saturday. Until next time, I'm Gibular Bob. This has been our NA press conference. We'll catch you all in the next video. Have a fantastic rest of your night, everybody. in what could be the final round here. There's now just 45 seconds. Sleepy finds the kill on Brady. Sleepy finds it. He did it.
Welcome, everybody, to the Breachers VRML Season 3 North American Final Four. My name is Nightfire with 2 E's, and I got the whole desk this afternoon. Gibular, Bob, and Martini. Martini, we're going to start with you. Bob, you're going to have to wait. Martini, how are you doing? We're ready. We're here. The teams are jumping into lobby. It's IVNA versus Valor.
I'm doing great, man. I mean, checking out the chat, there's so much love in the chat. There's so much hype in the chat for this. But we've seen the craziest upsets from last week. We're seeing some amazing teams coming out for this week. I'm expecting nothing less than spectacular from both of these teams. I'm expecting Ivy in particular, though. We need to see that clinical. We need to see that surgical breachers play that they were doing last week. We need to see them put up the best breachology classes they could ever imagine doing, because they're that sort of team. Otherwise, if they don't do it, I can't call it an IV era, right?
That is true, but they certainly have shown us that they're ready to play, Bob. Valor, on the other hand, also stepping up to the task, winning their 2 matches last weekend, and I think they're ready to challenge Ivy.
I certainly think they are. They've already knocked one out of the way, and now we're going to see Ivy take on a little bit more pressure than the number 8 seed in the championship. So things could be different this time around. But not only that, my friends, we also have a little update to talk about this that happened this week.
Yeah, just a little bit. The incendiary nade getting its spread completely changed. Its effectiveness, in my opinion, amplified 3-5-fold. We saw a tremendous tool utilized in EU. And today, Bob, it's got to be something that is a main staple in every team's arsenal.
Absolutely, the incendiary, brand new, great spread. On that, it can completely shut off entire sections of an angle or rotation. So very, very solid. We saw that in the EU semifinals earlier today. And now we're going to see it displayed in full force here in the NA semifinals. In addition to that, we have a nerf to the cloaking device. Number 1, it is far less transparent when you're standing still. And number 2, when you start shooting with it, it automatically disables your cloaking device. So big changes across the board.
I got to stop before I lead it into Martini, who started all of this. We have tremendous amounts of donations coming in chat. We really do appreciate the what is huge super donations, huge super chats coming in from Ninja, Tim, Martini contributing in, and Bubba. We really do appreciate everybody that does put money into the VRML, and I got to pause to give the shout out to them in our pre-show here. We are getting ready to dive into the action, but while we get ready, thank you so much to contributing into the VRML. It keeps the lights on. It lets us keep doing what we're doing, and we really do appreciate you. Martini, we've also had obviously big meta changes at the core level from season to postseason. Big, huge economy and meta choices are changing now.
Yeah, no, I keep saying I think this is what we call the changing season, the new season, a breath of fresh air season. Also, shout out to the hype train. I wasn't sure if we get the hype train going, Nightfire, but man, I'm telling you, the love in the chat is going crazy. People are excited. But no, I love this season because it is one of, I think, the biggest meta changing seasons. We're seeing the Vezin and the Marui now getting usage. We're seeing them not as used as often anymore because they're so expensive, so they're riskier buys. We're seeing these teams have to utilize SMGs for once. We're seeing the Incendiary got so many nice buffs. It's now a proper zoning tool. Dare I say better than the Frag now, because the Frag almost had consistent picks all the time, but I swear I've seen more picks from Incendiaries now in games, which is kind of insane to me, right? So we're seeing so many things changed up, mixed around this season, and that's what I keep talking about when we go into these playoffs, that these teams need to be very good at adapting to these changes, not just game to game, but also these actual changes from the game itself. And it's insane to see these teams adjust so fast, dare I say. But I love it. I love seeing a team like Triangle Factory put in so much work to really give life to Breachers and let it breathe and let it change over time, because it kind of gets boring when it's static, right?
Yeah. And a big shout out again to Ninja Tim, coming in at a total of $200 in super chats. I don't know what's going on there. That is crazy. Thank you so much for the support. It's I saw someone say that's a Quest 2. It is. You can buy a Quest 2 pretty cheap these days. So yeah, we really do appreciate that. It is helpful to our cause, and again, that cause is VR esports. So big shout out to you, Ninja Tim and Bubba, for throwing in and contributing as well. Again, we're finally ready, Bob. We've stalled long enough. The donations have carried us through into our first map of the afternoon. It's on Arctic, between IVNA and Valor. How are we feeling Arctic's going to play out this afternoon, Bob? What is your sort of anticipation of this map for our starting map? Do you think we're headed I'm feeling in the air, guys. I'll put it out there. I'm thinking 6-6, map 1 here.
Whoa!
Interesting. Okay. Go ahead, Martini. I'll let you start.
You're already imagining starting off 6-6. I don't know. We've seen
I'm a dreamer, Martini.
I'm sorry, I forgot. I didn't read the script earlier, so you got to definitely let me know what's going to happen there.
You're right. I might be reading next year's script, so I'll double check.
Right.
Here we go into map number 1 of this IVNA versus Valor series. Representing Valor is Jims, Crimson, Sleetso, Donk, and Ice Beast. And over on IV, Swift, Gizmo, Proxy, Kija, and Kazex. IV on the offense, Valor on the defense. Into Arctic, here we go, and a drone already spying on Green Hallway where Ice Beast is waiting at the midpoint. Minute 50 left to go as Proxy looking to get some early damage on Ice Beast, and will find that. Here's Donk prepping that brand new Incendiary, a minute 45 to go, and Valor are doing a decent job of just stalling for a bit of time here.
Yeah, the foam's prepped on the wall. They're ready for their breach in. A nice smoke around the corner, but that static emitter, a real nice tool. That's going to, slow down this push through. Proxy takes a bit of damage, and you're seeing for the first time in North America the spread of the Incendiary. It's tremendous and powerful and a great tool to use to zone off the IV squad from being able to reinforce each other. They lost one there because of that lack of mobility, and we're into a 4v5 now.
Proxy, Kazex, Gizmo all over in Jim as Valor. Crimson caught the first pick on to Kija. Ice Beast goes down to Proxy, though. Got a little bit too over-aggressive on that corner. Proxy looking to clear out the static field emitter and the trip mines. Gizmo, in the meantime, found Crimson as we have a 3 versus 4 with 40 seconds left to go on the clock. Anubius and Lord Farquaad, thank you both for the donations as well. Everybody's trying to go band for band with you, Martini, but 30 seconds.
I built a high train.
Here comes the push from IV as Jims finds Gizmo. Sleetso on the flank, finding Kazex. 2 versus 3 with numbers in favor of Valor. And there's only 15 seconds on the clock. The EMP is tapped. Donk gets baited out, but Jims will find one, looks for the second, and there's Sleetso on the flank, taking out Swift, and round 1 will go to Valor.
Martini, we're here. It's round 1 locked in. Valor, the underdogs, stepping up in the pistol round, but it's early. It's just the pistol round. We can't get ahead of ourselves.
People talk about band for band. Maybe these teams go round for round here. We got to see what's going to end up happening. But I got to give those call-outs to those incendiaries, right? Y'all talk so much about it in the pre-show about how different the changes are, and it is. It's a excellent zoning tool, prevented IVNA from being able to reinforce their own teammates coming in a little bit early on in the round. It allowed Ivy to make a couple early pushes, and it almost allowed them to get a pick, towards that later part there. Yep. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough here. And at first, it was some really good solid picks come out from IVNA. I thought it was going to start swinging in their favor. But, definitely credit to the Valor players, seeing how well they held down their positions, didn't overextend. Dare I say that was a pretty clinical defense. No one overstayed a little too much. Maybe one player at the beginning there, but it was a really strong defense from Valor. And I'm going to be honest, I get it. It's pistol. It's round 1. It's very early. But if this is how they're going to play, this might go to a 6-6.
Here we go. Round 2. Welcome, all newcomers, into chat. If you are just tuning in, you've made it here just in time. We're watching the number 1 seed, IVNA, battle against the number 4 seed in our Final Four for Season 3. With over $2,000 on the line, these teams are battling out for a big chunk of change, and you're watching the best of the best, quite frankly. I can't wait to see how this unfolds as the defense here from Valor looks good. Little Incendiary, again, going to be the key utility piece we see utilized all day today. Incendiaries are going to be the MVPs for any team.
Yeah, they are. We've already seen one deployed by by Valor. IVNA dodging that. Frag also tossed, but Gizmo with good movement manages to get away. There goes the wall opened up as Valor have invested heavily into some rifles and SMGs this round. Frags tossed to the back of the site. Slitso picks up a lot of damage from that, but they will walk away with their health intact. Gizmo looks to take out the static field emitter. There it goes. Now you're going to hear the EMP audio cue given off. Another incendiary toss, and the deployment kills Gizmo. The floor is lava, and IVNA aren't able to plant that EMP.
It's so effective at zoning, it makes it impossible for this offense to push up and get the EMP. And so now they're set up with SMGs blasting its gyms, and Donk finding multiple kills over the top. The smoke going to dissipate soon. Swift and Kazakhs are going to be all that Ivy have left.
Swift, Kazakhs goes down. Swift manages to find the kill onto Gyms, but it's a 1 versus 3. 1 versus 2 with a very nice pick from Swift. Crimson off to the right. Slitso in the back by the bomb. And it's going to be tough no matter which way you slice it for Swift, especially because they only have 8 shots and they pick up the Spectral of the fallen Gizmo. But Crimson was there with the pre-fire onto Swift, and Valor pick up their second round.
Martini, I don't know if you noted the economic choices Ivy made there, but I think that still could be a net positive for Ivy at the end of the day with how much damage they did to Valor.
Yeah, I believe they did a lot of the Spectrals there. It looked like Valor actually went more of the kind of risky route. Granted, they just won the previous round, so it made sense for them to kind of lean more into it. But, I mean, check out Ivy. They definitely went for more of the eco choices here. We see 1-2 of Marui's coming out, 1-2 all rails coming out, and on the side of Valor, we're only seeing 2 assault rifles. Not even like top tier assault rifles, just 2 Maruis coming out. Sorry, all rails they're coming out there. So this, to your point, they definitely lost that previous round, but Ivy's coming into this with some riskier buys. Remember, these are gambles now, and we gotta hope that they get more value out of this in this upcoming round. But again, I mean, this is I'm gonna be quite honest. I hadn't visually seen the changes yet from the Incendiary there, but it really is night and day. You have them using it for an effective zoning tool to come in and get the plant off, but you also have it as a reverse zoning tool from the other team to prevent that plant from going off now. So you got to be very careful with approaching these sites, and I'm gonna be honest, people should be more focused, I think, on utility baiting at this point, because you want to pull it out, make them waste it, and then go in, right?
I don't think the drone ID'd these trip mines here. Keisha is going to check for them, though, so they definitely are aware. They definitely identified those, and that's utility down, but it does slow Ivy just a little. It forces them to buy that drone. It makes it more effective, I guess, at the end of the day, and Keisha's going to foam down here. This might be a quick play here, Bob, from Ivy, as they've already got an early pick. B site getting prepped to be pushed into.
And the worst part for Valor here is that they've only got Donk on site. If they lose control over that corner too early, it's going to be just a really, really big issue for this Valor defense. But Incendiaries are tossed. There's another one, and Proxy is caught out in the hallway, but they've baited out both Incendiaries from Valor. Quick thank you in the chat to SPC Dinkers and Brabadabado for more donations. Martini has really started that hype train. Keija finds the kill onto Jims, and here comes the collapse onto the site. Dog looks to push up into the corner and may catch Gizmo. They will catch Gizmo, but is refragged by Keija, and we're down to a 1 versus 3, and Crimson is unable to find the round, and IV have just entered this game.
Keisha almost dies trying to plant the EMP to the static emitter in the corner. They have such little health left. That would have been one way to go down right there. But Martini, Ivy are back in it. They've got their point on the board. It was looking like, oh, what's going to happen? And now,
I'm like, is there a third upset coming in this playoff here? Because I thought, I'm like, please, my heart can't handle it. Yes, it can. But we saw some great early round picks there from Kazakhs. I got to give a lot of value, I think, coming out from the Marui. in that round, right? That,
Yep.
that riskier buy that we'd seen come out from these teams, I think used very, very well from the IBNA players, and I'm not shocked by that, right? Whenever you see those sort of buys, especially I would consider that a hero buy, considering only 2 players could buy it out in that round. I'm like, hey, they're doing hero buys. You got to get value out of it. Otherwise, you're 1, giving the gun to the other team, and 2, potentially losing a lot of cash for your team there. So it's a really big buy now because it's that 3,200 credits to buy, a Vezina and Marui now. And I mean, I love looking at these, eco screens now because the guns are so different. There's so much variety. And I got to just, again, much love the Triangle Factory for that. Much love the Triangle Factory.
I mean, the start of this season, you would say, like, why are SMGs even in the game? They had
Honestly.
no purpose. And now they're maybe one of the most powerful tools mid to short range, even in full buy rounds. You can still be effective with them. They've just done a great job tweaking and tooling the economy for this game, and it's, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. The postseason has been fantastic, filled with upsets, and here we are in a close battle in Map 1 on Arctic between the number 1 seed and number 4 seed. And maybe we're going to be tied up 2-2 here, Bob. Maybe my 6-6 prediction isn't too far off.
We very well could be. Crimson finds Gizmo, as we do see Sleetso over in cafeteria right now. And of course, we do still have a whole entire second half in this game, so we could see performances drastically change there as well. Frags are tossed, utility dumping from both teams. Crimson pushes out, finds another kill onto Proxy this time, but an S-tier frag from Kazakhs. Incendiaries deployed. Kija's in the site and planting the EMP. Ice Beast with a good push. They go deep and they catch 2, and it's now just up to Kazakhs with 1:10 left to go on the clock, and they have to pick up the pieces of a push that wasn't entirely successful here from IVNA.
Incendiaries continue to be dominant and are making EMP planting a whole new ball game as we continue to see EMP planters going down to a well-tossed Incin, as now Kazakhs has the task of getting this EMP plant down, or maybe just ecoing, grabbing some utility, trying to get the EMP plant for the economy, and through the smoke, they take big damage, have to tuck into the tight corner, and they don't have a lot of room to work with here outside of vaulting out and ecoing. That's the play. They may have even heard the grapple, but yeah, they're not going to challenge the duo, and Kazakhs going to carry through with them that Marui and that investment because they need to, Martini.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very smart play from Kazakhs there. I think it was very difficult. You didn't know what exact utility or guns the other team had at that point. It's a 1v2 situation. I believe they're half health before that syringe, and even after the syringe now. It was a difficult decision, but Kazakhs somehow, in the midst of all of this action going on, able to make those really smart decisions here. Because we're talking about this would have been a clutch play, but when you're talking about this high level, you want to capture as much eco as you possibly can. And the way Ivy's looking at it, like, hey, it was rough this first half here, but we got the second half ourselves to rely on for that defensive there. And I think I was talking with Bob, in the pre-show here about how this Valor IVNA game is going to go, and we talked about whether or not it'd be a wash or something. And IVNA is a great team, but I'm not going to say. I said it before. Valor's not a slouch. It might, whatever way it ends up going, it's not going to be an easy game for either team here. And again, this is the best of breachers here. I'm not shocked. I expect them to play as well as they can. And we're seeing that from Valor. They're not pulling any punches. And I know IVNA is definitely pushing it down on the gas pedal here, but they got to do something a little bit different here. But again, their economy is looking pretty solid, though. The fact that they have 4 Maruis coming in here, I'm not sure how, but IVNA is definitely going bigger on these assault rifle buys. But they also got to win those assault rifle rounds when these teams are head-to-head, right? Because when Valor did have the assault rifles, they did pretty well.
Here's the reason, Martini, because there was also an adjustment to the loser's consecutive loss bonus. So now you get more on your consecutive losses. So after a few consecutive losses, IV is able to afford a full buy here and will be able to afford a full buy next round too, even if they lose this round. So it makes it a more competitive late stage back and forth. And that trip mine Bob almost caught the first kill on Akija.
Has Kija not noticed the second one there?
No.
Uh-oh, that could be very bad for... Okay, no, surely they see it.
They have to, yeah.
Okay. Good spotting from Kija there. That could have been pretty devastating if somebody else walked into the same trip spot. We do actually see Sleetso on the flank as Ice Beast picks up a bit of damage. Here's the thing, if you're Valor, you don't want to get too aggressive here on these angles because that's exactly what Ivy is going to do. They bought Maruis for a reason. They're going to try and play those long angles, play for some picks, and then finally go in and get that EMP planted. Frag is tossed. Jim's holding a pretty defensive angle, looking for proxy. As more utility is tossed, this time by Valor. Gizmo holding that flank watch angle. Kija looking to get that EMP planted. Here we go, do or die. And the incendiary is deployed. And so now they're doing what Martini said, util baiting. Sleetso finds one looking to escape, and Swift tries to get that refrag. It doesn't happen. Proxy finds the kill onto Jims. And we're now into a 2 versus 4 with just a minute left to go. Kija getting that EMP planted. Ice Beast looks for the swing. Another incendiary is tossed. But now they're in a bit of trouble as Kha'Zix closes out the round with a kill onto Ice Beast. 3-2. Valor in the lead by 1.
Look at how much room that incendiary is covering. It is a devastating tool on both defense but also offense, Martini. I mean, we can see it used to zone out the entirety of a back line if it's tossed effectively.
I mean, I talked about it there. We saw some utility baiting now. I think these teams are finally getting the understanding that that incendiary is just so much value there, and it works both ways, right? I think Valor even had 2 incendiaries still waiting in the pocket. They got the first one and got baited out, unfortunately, but the second one still went in, got some chip damage, but wasn't enough. And I believe Valor had sent out a Bromer there. They got 1 pick, but that wasn't quite enough because I think there's only 1 player left on site there. That's definitely tough, right, for the Valor players here. But this is, again, going blow for blow here, and I can definitely see why teams have been choosing Arctic more often, right? We're seeing value on not just the defensive side. Like, yes, they do have the advantage here, but we're seeing, look, IVNA is still able to get those strong wins on the offense themselves, right? Coming to this upcoming round, though, it looks like Ivy is looking a lot better in terms of that economy here. We'll have to see if Valor can get 1 more in the pocket here, because for IB going 3-3 into their own defensive round might be a little bit tougher.
Yeah, I think we could be headed to the 6-6, quite frankly, the 3-3 halves split both ways if this is the pace we're going to get, because, quite frankly, I'm not sure what Valor's attack is really going to look like, Bob. It could be a powerful one when it comes to the side swap. So, well, it's only a matter of time until we do see as Crimson holds a tight angle from above and awaits the push from IV as they set up around the outside of B. There's a little drop down. Shots come over, and Crimson's quickly scooped up by Kha'Zix. The lurking threat of the pistol is gone, but it was just a lurking threat of a pistol. They were just a kind of a, not really a, what is it? You're hoping that maybe you get a kill with that player. They were just there for utility.
Yeah, it was really kind of a flash flank there. It didn't really work. Kha'Zix, meantime, finding the kill onto Jim. Swift takes out Sleetso, and we're not seeing a great response here from Valor as another flanker goes down this time. Kija picks up a lot of damage, but now we're on a tie game, and that round did not go well for Valor. It's going to be a 3-3 tie heading into the second half, Martini.
Man, these Maruis are just MVPs for sure on the IVNA side. I don't know if they've just spent so many hours, in the practice range with that thing, but they have I think they murdered everyone before they even got on the site. That's how well they have played that there. But that's exactly what the Marui is made for, right? It's made for that range. It's made for doing things that the Vezin can't do, 11 meters or further out, right? And I got to give some love to, I think, Kha'Zix there. They're a great, what you can call them an entry fragger. They come in, they get some great picks early on, and it allows IBNA to come in and really capitalize on those earlier, not going to say early round picks, not all of them were, but earlier picks coming off from Kha'Zix there. So definitely a great entry fragger for IBNA. I don't know if that's planned to be their entry fragger, but they are definitely acting as one there. But as I talked about earlier, IBNA put themselves in a pretty good spot. 3-3 coming into their own defensive half. They only need to get 4 more rounds to win this one out. On the defensive side, again, Arctic, I think, is a little bit more even, but I think defense almost inherently always has some more advantages there. And Ivy is definitely looking in a really good spot right now.
Yeah, I think that's offensive half could carry them through. Pistol opener is going to set a tone, though, Bob, and Valor have an opportunity here. With a little bit of drone work, they're assessing if there's been any extra utility thrown down. I don't think usually we see trip mines here, and obviously, Bob, we are instead seeing an investment into those double incendiaries into the hands of Ivy's defense right now.
Yeah, I think IV got that immediate shock, like, oh, yeah, these are definitely worth it to buy, especially for this angle as a frag. Tossed deep into the back of Site B. Another one tossed out, and that'll do about half health on Proxy. And there's an incendiary toss, but that's actually prime real estate for one to deploy because Ice Beast could go in and get that planted right about now. And they're just trying to jiggle into the room. Another incendiary toss, and now they're going to go for it. Minute and a half on the clock as one incendiary expires, and now Ice Beast is going to get caught, but not before getting the EMP planted. It is a worthy sacrifice. Sleetso finds Kazakh. Swift goes down to Jims, and it's now down to a 3 versus 3. Crimson finds Gizmo, who was on the flank. Keija and Proxy looking to push up and play off of each other here. 1 goes down, 2 goes down. Valor stays in the lead.
Hello, Martini?
Sorry,
Are you
let
stunned?
let me scream into the void right now. 'Cause apparently, I might need to make another upset video. Apparently, I'm kidding. We're still early on, right? And I was only pissed around. But you said this. You said this perfectly earlier, Nightfire. Regardless of the fact that it's early on, it's still the piss around. It sets the tone for this first half here. And I mean, check out the tone from Valor there. We're seeing 2 SMGs coming out, a hero buy in Sleetso there. That's going to be a big deal. But again, that is a big risk coming out from the Valor players. They got to get value from that hero buy. Otherwise, we can see this not going too well in the upcoming round. They'll still be good probably to get those Vezins. But, I mean, a lot of back and forth. That Incendiary was so crazy because it was so close to getting that pick, but that EMP plan is what changed the whole thing. The fact that they got that last tick there and even died going down for it put the favor in the side of Valor there and forced Ivy to have to retake themselves. Unfortunately, they didn't get that much value, I think, in their roamer either. They only got 1 pick there, and they got knocked down immediately after. Valor's looking good. I don't know. Valor's looking really good right now.
Coming out with a pistol opener, Bob, is a solid way to start things, but not the end-all, be-all. Economically, they're taking big risks, Bob, and, you know, if any mistake is made, any incendiary is caught out, any utility piece is scooped up by the enemy, could spell bad news for this Valor lead.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about playing off of each other in this round. Do not get isolated into pointless 1v1s. Got to make sure that if somebody goes down, you have somebody there to recover the kit. In any case, we actually do see double incendiaries from IV. 1 is toss. And I almost feel like with the new incendiary, it's almost worth it to just wait for them to start planning the EMP and then go for that incendiary deployment. But we do see Kazakhs and Swift both out in a green hallway at the moment. 1.5 minutes on the clock, and nobody on Valor is playing very far away from each other. But Gizmo caught Crimson out, looking for another one. You can see that even just because they have weaker weapons does not mean that IV is out of this by any means. They can 100% put in a great performance here on the defense.
Yeah, they can. 4v4. HP bars favoring, or actually 5v4. Technically, here comes the push. The multiple people presses. Swift tucks into a corner. Their ankles bit, but a nice shot from the back from Proxy on Quest. Shots over the top from Keija as well. Connect onto Ice Beast, and we're into a 2v2. This could be devastating for Valor if IV can get any sort of footing here. Gizmo goes down in the 2v1, maintaining advantage. Keija still has an omen in hand.
Yeah, Keija was looking to get a pick here, but I think they weren't in sync with Gizmo, and Gizmo went down too early, and so now Keeja's in a bit of a dire situation because you're going up against that Vezin player. The EMP has been recovered by Sleetso, and this is not the time for hesitation from Valor. You see Dunk getting that EMP toss. Keija swings out for 1 kill, looking to make it a 1 versus 1. And this is for all the marbles that Sleetso's looking there. Hey, Keija, if they swing out right now, they're going to make it a win there. But I think maybe Sleetso got the audio cue. There's 10 seconds left on the clock. And Sleetso has to get in and get that EMP planted. 1 charge, 2 charges, 3 charges. It's done. Sleetso just to get time. My goodness, what a headshot onto Keija to keep Valor alive and up by 2 points. That was an incredibly intense round, Martini.
Oh, man, that hero buy got so much value. I for a quick second, I was like, wait, who died? The Vezin or the All-Rail? Because that's going to be a big deal there. Luckily for Valor, it wasn't the Vezin buy. I think if that had been the Vezin person getting knocked down, this would have looked very, very, very different for that last ending there. But I mean, that's hard. You know, watching Keisha have to deal with that situation there, it was so tough. It was so close. And you're right, Bob. If they had just peaked right at that moment, they might have gotten that pick there. But at the same time, did you see their health pool? It was so low. They had the syringe in hand. It's a little difficult, right? Do you go in for the pick? Potentially, the fact that they had a Vezin in hand, they might have been able to get 1 or 2 shots off and still win that engagement, even with the surprise on their side there. It's a lot of pressure on the IBNA players here. And, I mean, excellent gameplay coming out from the Valor players. I can really tell that they spent a lot of time locking in and focusing on how do they do really well against a team like IBNA here. We saw an aggressive defense too. I don't know if you noticed that a lot of players off site there. I think they maybe might have overplayed their hand, honestly, from the IBNA players.
Yeah, I think it was just a bit of a coordination issue. And also, to your point, you know, we here on the casting client have kind of an omnipotent view. We can see everybody through walls. So it's harder to make that call when you're like Keisha, especially when you're low on health like that. So it's an unfortunate call for IV, but for Valor, it's one that they'll be very, very grateful for as they enter round number 9 here. 2 minutes on the clock. Slitso looking to open up the push onto Site A.
The Valor squad a point away from taking us to map point and map number 1 against Ivy, the number 1 seed. I don't know what's in the seasonal water, but it is putting these teams so close. And actually, I do know what's in. It's incendiaries. That's what's in the seasonal water as they come out of smoke there. That gets Bosch, an incendiary that doesn't. Gizmo catches shots through the wall, and the EMP plant's going to be tough.
It's like Martini said, we need to see some util baiting come out here because Crimson got caught in the incendiary, and now things are not looking good for Valor at all. It's down to Slitso and Donk in a 2 versus 5. They've yet to find even 1 pick against IVNA. The EMP is in an unrecoverable position right now. They have to plant it where it is right now. A minute on the clock is Slitso. They're still looking to get in here and potentially push and complete this round. Gizmo goes down as Proxy will catch a kill onto Donk. And it's all down to Slitso making use of that cloaking device. It may be nerfed, but it is still useful.
Yeah, and they're going to stay still, trying to maximize its efficiency, waiting for Keisha to inevitably flank them so that they can slowly pick off one at a time the IV defense. Valor have had a great offensive half as they go up 2-0 here, but this is definitely IV putting their foot down and saying, no, you're not running away with map 1.
10 seconds left as Keisha goes down and prepare for a swing if you're Slitso, but it looks like IV are going to stay dug in. They're not going to pursue the refrag. Vezin gets tossed as bait by Kazakhs, but ultimately a good call here from Slitso, who did not get too over-aggressive. They got some picks, and, well, that's really as much as Valor could hope for that round, Martini.
I mean, we saw full buys coming from Valor. They definitely invested so much into that round. But, I mean, that IVNA defense, even with, I believe, 3 buys only from Ivy, did a really good job there. We saw amazing defense holding things on. Proxy, in particular, I believe got 2K pretty early on in that round, really knocking out that Valor push there. And I think maybe IVNA finally figured out the timing on that incendiary, because I remember, I think the first pistol round that they had, they tried to figure out the incendiary timing. It wasn't early enough, and it allowed them to still get the EMP off, but they had timed it early on enough now for them to actually get a value, get that pick, and prevent Valor from getting that plant and forcing, a retake against the IVNA players there. Just strong showing from that defense. Finally, a push back from IVNA, because it felt like the way that Valor was going, this might have ran away with it. They're still in good, good showing. A lot of buys still coming out here. But, I mean, check out some of these riskier buys, though. I mean, players like Gizmo, a shotgun in hand in this sort of game.
We saw it get 1-for-1 trades in EU, Bob. So it's definitely something that can get you a kill, but the odds that it finds more than that are pure luck, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, it all depends on the user, and in this case, it's Gizmo, one of the best shotgun users in the game, period. Kazek's finding Ice Beast with a trip mine kill. Can't be losing players like that. And actually, the EMP and the foam is down, and the rest of the team is over on the other side of the map. So this play, I think, is already not going to work. I think they expected they would have had players alive a bit longer than that, and so now they're going to have to try and change up the play here and see if they can do something else.
I think one thing worth mentioning, the EMP is not something that you have to pick up anymore. You can walk over it and it snaps into your inventory. Makes it getting a lot easier when you need to grab it in kind of a hurry. And I think it's another change. I don't know if we talked about that, but I'm seeing it happen in front of me. So
Crimson tossing the flash as Valor looking to take space in cafeteria. And Kazek's just waiting outside. But look at this. Only a minute left on the clock. Valor burned a lot of time, and I suspect this may come back to haunt them a bit later on. Kazek's is caught by Crimson as Valor looking to quickly switch off.
No!
Incendiary dropped on the feet. Oh, and they almost lost Crimson and Jims with that. Frag now toss over to Site A, and we're looking to see Proxy catch Crimson, who tried to play in the window here, and I think this round has just been a number of switch-ups from Valor, and it's led them to be a bit disorganized. Only 25 seconds left on the clock, and they're just holding some angles here, and we're still in a 4 versus 3 Gizmo on the flank. Donk Slitzo watching over Site A, but only 10 seconds left to go, and at this point, I think you just hop outside.
Yeah.
Interesting choice here, and Donk doesn't really have the option to fully back out, but maybe they'll catch an over-aggressive defender trying to get out and grab a gun or two. It doesn't look like IV are going to risk it, because obviously they know there's quite a few left alive on that Valor side, but we're tied 5-5. This 6-6 reality Martini is crawling closer and closer to it.
Man, you definitely called it, but for that round in particular, though, I think Bob had mentioned that trip mine, I think, was vital. It shut basically Valor's play down to a screeching halt there, right? Their EMP planter was stuck out there. Someone that had a lot of good utility, the breaching in particular, on them. So they had to basically prevent the whole team from being able to make that push there. And it was from a trip mine, right? You think even at this high level of play, trip mines don't matter. They still do. They can allow these vital picks on someone like an EMP user who's unsuspecting of that. And it worked out perfectly for the IBNA players there. And again, Proxy getting some great picks on that anchor. They're playing so well as an anchor for the IBNA players here. It's getting a lot of good value here. I'm looking forward to what's gonna happen here. I can totally foresee a 6-6 here. Unless IBNA just really locks in and just 7-5s this.
Yeah, it is dang close. These two teams right next to each other in seeding, number 1 versus number 4. And in the EU, Bob, we saw that number 4 team come out victorious. So who's to say it can't happen here in North America? Because we've already had plenty of upsets delivered to us in the postseason already.
Yeah, massive upsets over in EU. And we're left with the number 3 team and the number 4 team battling it out tomorrow. Make sure you catch that game. In the meantime, Kazakh finds Sliso. Swift out in red hallway, playing an aggressive angle here. They're going to toss a frag! And they catch a lot of damage onto Ice Beast, but they do not find that kill. And they manage to escape back into the safety of Site B.
Door blocker makes it a lot easier to drop back as they tuck in. Another effective utility piece that enhances this IV defense, making it harder for Valor to break through as they struggle. Keisha finds one with the Cadillo, no less, and it leaves just Jims and Donk alone.
Not one, but 2 with the Cadillo as the EMP still has yet to go down. It's actually in a really tough space to recover it from. And 5-5 here. Whoever wins this round is going 6-5 and getting that map point. This is still, if you're just joining us, the first map between IVNA and Valor. And it started off with good Valor momentum, but now IV are on a comeback, and they still have all 5 of their players alive and are potentially going to go 6-5 into in the next round. I think it's a save from Valor. I think they're calling it, Martini.
I know. I think it's the second save, I believe, in a row now, and it's looking a little tougher for the Valor players. I don't know if you all have noticed the IVNA. They've actually shifted their defense. They were playing a lot more aggressive against Valor earlier on. They had, I think, several players extended a little bit off site there. But we're seeing now IVNA really, really anchoring now on these sides, really holding it down, and it's working numbers for them, right? They've won the last 2 or 3 rounds. IVNA is looking a lot better in terms of form here. They got a lot of cash in hand. They're going into the upcoming round with a lot of assault rifles, and I think they're using the Marui to its best extent here. They're getting some great early picks on the Valor players before they're even stepping in on site from really longer angles that I think Valor tends to. It looks like they're tending to swing for Vezins, and it's not working against Ivy, but that's because they know how to play with that Marui in hand here. I mean, check out Ivy. Only Swift is utilizing that Vezin. Everyone else besides Gizmo is going to be using that Marui, and they're getting those picks from great angles here, and it's just knocking down Valor. They've been struggling to fight against this IVNA defense unless they know how to adjust it right now here. Ivy might be good to go, except they might have lost a player.
Yeah, don't want to have that happen, obviously. Bob, we see the bots not being an effective tool in this game, but hopefully it's a quick reconnect and IV can push forward. I imagine Gizmo will want to invest out of the Knut, though, so I think that will be a change we should be seeing here come through, but maybe they won't. Maybe they'll try and challenge on the short corners with that shotgun, because this is a pretty tight map. You can see Gizmo is... Yeah, thinking about it, I think they may actually hold on to that Knut despite the ability to buy, despite it being the last round, despite having $4,000 in the pocket. They are going to stick to that Knut, Bob.
Yeah, if you're... I don't know if this is a good angle to be holding it on. Yeah, Gizmo's going to go for the spring kill here. But if you're at a certain angle looking at the door, you're going to see Gizmo's leg. So... Ice Beast finds the kill onto Kija through the wall. 6-5 game. This is whether or not we're going to go into overtime, and it's going to decide whether or not Nightfire can see the future, because he called us very, very long ago. But minute 50 on the clock as we're actually looking at Valor rotating around, and they are in red right now. They're going to push into site B. Look at the flag! Oh my goodness, it almost caught both Kha'Zix and Swift, and Kha'Zix dropped okay, no, they didn't drop their own rifle, but they did drop a rifle. Gizmo forced back into the middle of site B. The spring trap is not working, and a minute and a half on the clock. Still plenty of time for Valor here. No team has the number advantage yet, but we do see a big health advantage in favor of Valor.
Proxy just trying to check this angle as Sleetso stays super tucked in. Proxy does find the head of Sleetso. Ingao could be a threat to the sides of this offense. They have to worry about that potential swing coming in, but for now at least they'll set up and wait for that incendiary to die down for a chance at the EMP plant. Gizmo still a threat with the shotgun in the close quarters, Bob.
And 45 seconds on the clock as Valor is continuing to burn time, and now there's a lot of pressure here because those incendiaries have taken 15 seconds off each. So you figure that's about 30 seconds that is getting wasted by the incendiaries tossed here from Ivy. That's going to force Valor.
Nice.
Jims catches Gizmo with that incendiary, and it's going to look to reach in and get that EMP planted. Dog finds the kill on the Proxy as frags are being tossed, and it doesn't get Crimson off the EMP for long enough. It does, as Swift finds the kill on the Crimson. Only 8 seconds left. It has to be a swing in. Dog goes down, and it's up to Jims, and Jims goes down, and we are not going to go to overtime. Nightfire cannot see the future. Map number 1 goes to IVNA.
Just barely, Martini. Ivy squeaks away with a map 1 victory. Celebrate with some cheers and screams and dancing. And ultimately, Kha'Zix and Proxy lead the charge. Kha'Zix with 13 and 5 on the KD. And Proxy 11-6, a great performance from them to come in clutch in those last moments.
I mean, again, that IVNA defense, just them anchoring on site, worked out perfectly for them there. I believe even Valor trying to mix it up with a crazy rotate there, with a crazy, I don't know if y'all caught that S tier frag, almost sliding over to two of those IVNA players there. It was some great attempt from both teams to really adjust to the other, really throw off the other one there. But I think IVNA just, you made a good point there, just squeaked out 7-5 here. And we said this earlier, Valor's not no slouch. It's not going to be going straight, 7-0s or anything like that. This is not like their game that IVNA played last week. They're going to be playing against a better team that they had previously played last weekend here. But Valor's looking in really good form here. It really, comes down to, I think, the maps here, what kind of decisions these Valor players are making. And as long as things kind of work out a little bit more in their favor here, it could squeak out 7-5 on their end here, right? We're seeing great, I mean, this is breachology here, right? We're seeing great games from both of these teams. It's hard not to glaze both of them here, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it's a great start to the North American top 4, final 4 best of 3 series. A reminder, this is the first of 2 that we have this afternoon. After this, we have another best of 3, more teams duking it out. Aspect versus Apex, the ultimate upsetters going up against each other. The upsetters will upset the upset, and we'll have an upset for that series, so do be sure to tune in there for Aspect and Apex after this one. For now, though, we go into our second map, or at least shortly, I imagine. I don't see a timeout getting called, and I see Factory has been picked. No time to waste, Martini. We'll do a quick shout-out to our sponsors, Triangle Factory, for contributing in cash to the prize pool this season. These teams competing for $1,000 to second place and $2,300 to first, all thanks to Triangle Factory. Also on the line is HyperX Gear. You're hearing my voice on a HyperX Procast S. Martini and Bob also using HyperX Gear to deliver this high-quality broadcast straight to your ears. We hope you enjoy what you have seen so far. There's a lot more to come, because here we go into map number 2 on Factory. Martini, what are our thoughts of this one as we do get ready to dive into our second map for the day?
Yeah, so in terms of map choices, I believe IVNA goes first and Valor probably goes second. That's if they're going map choices. We're going with what the expected behavior is. So I'm imagining Valor might be pulling out Factory here potentially, knowing that, hey, Ivy's going to pick that defense going in first. We'll be on the offense. As long as we can get 1 or 2 rounds in here, we'll be in a good spot because we'll be defending off of Factory here. And most teams want to be defending off of Factory on that second half potentially, unless you get a really good 6-0 right in that first half here. And I don't think IVNA's banking on a 6-0, but we'll have to see.
The action begins, Bob. Map 2 of this best of 3 with IV barely in the lead, but a map lead nonetheless. And Valor looking to start off their pistol round on the attack with some success.
And also, due to the fact that we have overtime enabled, a map win, regardless of how close it was, is still that map win, as Nightfire mentioned. Look at the spring out from Gizmo, catching one, and gets refragged by Slitzo as Keisha was taken out by Jims. This is do or die for Valor. If they lose this map, they are out of the semifinals and the postseason altogether, and we're going to be watching IVNA face off against another team in the finals tomorrow. So that's if Valor can't lock in here, but look at Donk playing spy here, gets into the site and finds the kill onto Swift, and it's up to Kazax, and at Donk already in, and oh my goodness, Kazax with the double, looking to make it a quad to keep their team alive here, but EMP has already been planted, and it might be a little bit too late for Kazax.
The immolation was fumbled there and ended up allowing Kazax that multi-kill, but in the chaos, like you said, EMP's down. So how does Kazax retake this? I don't think I've ever seen EMP planted here either.
And Prozone fake. Prozone fake here. Oh, Kazax getting taken out by Slitzo, and yeah, even if Kazax didn't fake, it still wouldn't have ended well for them.
Wait, when did you start saying that? Pros don't fake? I don't think I've really. I know you said it last weekend. Is that the thing people say?
Yeah,
Bob says.
I say it all the time because.
Are you serious? I don't think I've ever heard you say that.
What?
Well, I've said it for a while.
That's practically
while?
Bob's
heard last week.
catchchphrase,
Wow, I'm
Martini.
crazy, man. Well, I'm used to extra
trademark
brag, I
that
guess.
to the thing. I won't
Anyway,
trademark it to the thing, but I do say it a lot.
there. Valor getting some great early round. I just had to note that out. Valor getting some great early round picks against IBNA. You know, I don't know. I don't want to, question IBNA's defense or some of the choices they made, but they made an aggressive defense choice there. I don't know if we all noticed. I think it was 1, 2, maybe even 3 players, a little bit extended from side and/or deep off and roaming. Didn't work out. And we saw that in the previous map, right? On Arctic, where whenever they played more of these aggressive defensive rounds, it didn't quite work out in their favor. Maybe they're adding variety to their defense to really, keep Valor guessing here. But it wasn't working, and I don't think it's going to keep working for them. They got to do these more conservative, closer to the site anchors that they've been doing, because it gets them the value against Valor.
Here we go, round 2. The lead in Valor's hands. The economic choices favoring Valor substantially. IV going to go for the Eco Bob, and I don't know if we agreed on the Eco being a successful tool, but so far they've found 2 kills. Sleetso is going to have to pull off a big comeback clutch multi-kill here, as they are the one that's dropped down first. But so far they've only found 1 for their trouble. Valor have lost 2.
Yeah, I think it was Donk that was just put into the melting pot out in Blue Hallway. Very, very unfortunate for them. Sleetso was looking to catch a kill. Proxy finds Ice Beast in the meantime, and we see Valor opening up with a strong round, and IV immediately bouncing back. Question is, can Sleetso and Crimson win a 2 versus 4 when Crimson only has a Spectral?
Yeah, I'm not sure why Crimson hasn't scooped up SMG that's on the floor there from one of their down teammates. Maybe just in the chaos they haven't thought to, but there we go. They'll scoop up that Omen, be a little bit more effective. Kija just shot through the wall away from going down, or maybe a little bit of a frag away. They'll stay stealth. Oh my goodness, in the corner. The wall foam kills Kija, and for I think the first ever wall foam kill I've seen on stream as Gizmo cleans things up. And, well, that's one way to lose and one way to get a kill, but Martini, I don't know what's going on now. We're tied 1-1.
We definitely gotta call that a clip it moment. You're right. I don't think I've seen a breaching foam pick before. I've seen breaching foam suicides. We've seen that I think that was a proxy. Funny enough, had the craziest one like seasons ago here, but I mean they weren't planning that, right? That's never a plan. That's straight luck. Someone's on like 5-10 health and they're picked out there. But anyways, that's what I'm talking about. Look at that conservative defense, a lot closer to the site there, and they were able to knock out those Valor players a lot early on there. They cleaned up, I think, very, very well against them. I mean, what else can you say there? Like, IBNA is looking good. Look at the economy right now. They have Maruis and Vezins all across the board here. It's looking a lot better for Wear now against Valor here, but again, Valor's on no slouch here. We've seen them hold it back here, even on the eco rounds. We got to see if Valor comes in something different here. I don't think we've seen them play on the second site yet now. Right, second site, I'm not sure if that's all right. So we'll have to see if they can adjust their strategies here, and how is Ivy going to play this one out. Look, a lot closer in terms of those anchors for a site instead of those deep roamers like they did in the previous couple rounds.
I think it's also worth noting that in that previous round, Kija caught the kill onto Sleetso. I think Sleetso definitely, when you push on that upstairs site, you need to check the immediate left, because there's usually somebody tucking over by the wall. And although Kija died, it was a little bit too late. The rifle player had already gone down. But in any case, here we are, round number 3. Both teams have a point on their board. The question is, who is going to pull away with the momentum? Right now, it's looking like IV, as they have 5 rifles across the board, sights on the middle floor. And the push developing over towards control room. We see Proxy firing some shots over by bathroom as Jim's looking for the infiltration. Kija does go down. Marui is recovered, and Ice Beast makes use of it to find a second kill, looking for a third potentially onto Proxy. And we're in a 3 versus 3 with 1:20 to go on the clock.
Big connection from Ice Beast through the wall there. Does prompt a quick heal from Swift, and they weren't ready for Proxy and Swift to hit him with the pinch. Great coordination from the duo that catches that kill. EMP on the floor and pinged by the IV team, so they know the advantage they're in. As now Donk and Jims have to pull together to try and get this EMP off the ground. And look at that instant, Bob.
Oh, yeah, and it's on the EMP nonetheless. They recovered the rifle off of the body, and very, very unfortunate here for Valor. But you know what? All things considered, they went into this round with not a whole lot of money and not a great amount of weapons, and they did catch 2 picks onto IV. That's 2 rifles that they can't bring into the next round, and Kija and Gizmo both invested heavily. Actually, the entire team, now that I'm looking at it, apart from Swift, has really spent everything they had on this round. Donk goes down, Jims looks for another kill, but Proxy with the double makes it a 2-1 game, IV leading.
You know, I was going to say, why not go for the save, but I saw their Spectrals in hand. They probably expected bind instead of coming around. They just said, let's send it. Maybe we get a pick or 2, right? Unfortunately, it just didn't quite work in the end there. But I got to give, a little small shout out for the Valor. I don't know if y'all noticed that aggressive push there. It came in unexpectedly. A jump hatch, by the way, which, everyone knows I have very strong opinions about those jump hatches. But when used with used with the surprises, when used in very, very aggressive plays, when used where everyone knows what they're going for, you can do something like that where Valor's able to come in and get a 2-pick pretty early on. But I got it. I mean, that hallway was a death hallway for the Valor plays. They couldn't get in there. I believe it was Swift and Proxy or whatever holding down that hallway, and it was just preventing Valor from getting any value there. And I mean, look at this is how in tune these teams are in terms of economy. I mean, Ivy literally they got that pick early on, and they immediately looked on the body, saw there's an assault rifle, throws it away from their body because they don't want Valor to get that rifle. They don't want them to go better into the upcoming round. Like both of these teams are so locked in right now. It's a sight to watch.
It's the best in North America, Bob. That's what we're battling out here this afternoon in the Final Four, and it delivers on high-quality action as we get into our next round, number 4 of Map 2. IVNA leading the charge with a map point, but Valor are fighting back here nicely on their offensive half. They've got 1 point on offensive, Bob. Maybe only 2 or 3 more are needed.
Not to mention that this is their rifle round. The previous round, they didn't have a whole lot to work with here, but unfortunately for them, Gizmo decided to buy a Canuts. Kija catching 1. Six finds the other with an S-tier frag, and Gizmo looking for a pick with that Canut. Jims is low, and already before they're even able to get into the building fully, they've lost 2 players here in this push. Crimson and Jims looking to pick up the pieces here along with Donk, but it's just not an ideal start to this round at all for Valor. And Proxy finds the head of Jims, and it's a big investment round for Valor, and they don't have much to show for it right now. They're going to have to get at least 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 picks here if they want to say this round was at least somewhat worth it.
These Marui's so dang effective in these long hallways, Martini. We are seeing it completely zone Valor off, and we might not have another. I mean, I think this is another minute-long eco coming in from them.
Ooh. Hello. Crimson finds the kill on to Gizmo with that Marui. That's a good way to start with the picks for Valor, but looks like they're just going to stick up to the roof and save. And Martini, I think that's probably the better idea for them.
Yeah, I mean, we saw them play a little aggressive on that previous round, but again, that was because they only had Spectrals. That's because they didn't really have anything to really utilize in the upcoming economy there. So I always say in those kind of rounds, unless you have a lot of a utility in hand they can bring into the upcoming round, you might as well just send it. Maybe get a pick or 2. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, in worst case, what they give 150 to the other enemy. It's not that big considering that they get another 2,600 right from that win anyways. But I mean, we want to talk about clinical defense on that 3rd floor here. Oh, wait.
What is going on? Crimson decides to double dip and go back for another pick. and they're looking for one onto proxy. Maybe I wouldn't be peeking that. And it looks like
I thought we called it, and then I'm like watching. I'm like, wait, are they going in for this?
Crimson's very lucky somebody didn't wrap around and get a pick on them.
I know. I was like, hold up. I mean, you saw us. We just called the eco.
Oh yeah, it was coming at the minute mark. We saw it coming.
Right. I'm like, wait, are they going for this? What are they doing? Anyways, I mean, talk about clinical defense on that third floor there. I can definitely tell IVNA has locked down that defense. We saw, 1, 2, 3 Valor players come in, and I think almost immediately get knocked out within a couple seconds of that. I think Nightfire called it best when we saw, I think it was Proxy, utilizing that really, really deep, long hallway against the Valor players and getting beautiful picks with that Marui. And that's what I got to give credit to on the IVNA players. They're using these buys with very specific angles and choice here, right? Even right now, they're adjusting their economy again. We're seeing Swift, we're seeing Kijah, we're seeing Kazakhs going for those Vezins instead, and Gizmo and Proxy now leaning onto those Maruis. I mean, this is, again, they know exactly what they're doing, and they're being very intentional about it, and that's what I'd love to see from the IVNA players. And that's what I talk about when they're being clinical. They know exactly what they're doing.
It's a lot of practice, to say the least, that gets put into this game between these teams. Is what the heck? Proxy says, I'll have a head. Push coming in here as looks like a bit of a slowdown on the extension in from Valor, Bob. They do not have a good start into this site. Did I lose Bob?
Yeah, you might have lost Bob. His stream is looking bad for me.
Oof, okay. Well, hopefully Bob will come back eventually, but I'll maintain continuing to cast the action as we do get into it here. Shots through the wall, connecting from Swift with the pistol, and Valor gets stung. This round does not go well for them. The full buy really coming apart, especially in the early rounds. The big pick from Proxy set them up so nice, and while Proxy is gone now, it's still a 2v4 for Jims and Donk to try and make something happen together as down goes Kazakhs or down goes Dog, excuse me. Kazakhs scooping up that kill. Jims, all that's left. And a double for Jims. They swing out for 3. It's a 1v1. Jims trying to clutch.
Yeah, definitely a great setup for Jims there. But Kijah, knowing that the EMP is on the back end there, playing it smarter. I don't know how Jims came in with the 3K in the end there, but that was beautiful for Valor and really tipped things in the side in their favor there. But it looks like Kijah is now just holding down the EMP, playing and biding time. I mean, we have 30 seconds left in the round here. Jims is going to have to play careful, though. They don't know exactly where Kijah is in this site and or where they are around the EMP because they are going to be utilizing that to their advantage here. And I'm waiting to see what's going to end up happening here as these two come head-to-head here. Jim's coming in for the swing, trying to go in for the EMP pretty soon now, checking every corner.
There it is. Okay, Kijah finds the shot to the back of the head onto Jims, and Jims just didn't check the one corner. Martini, they checked all of the other ones. And, I mean, that
was almost the craziest clutch play.
Yeah, I mean, look at the replay here again. An absolute swing from them. I thought Jims was definitely out, but this double kill, the push for the third, they scooped that up too. I mean, that is an aggressive maneuver coming in from them to lock in what was almost a map or a second point. But they're struggling to get that second point right now, Martini.
I know Valor's trying their best here, right? They're really coming in, trying to force some of these things to work out in their favor here. But IVNA, again, we're talking about clinical defenses here. We're seeing them hold down crazy angles. We're seeing them utilize the Marui to the best of their ability here. And they are doing such a good job here. And I love seeing the adjustments round the round here, right? We're seeing some of the IV players going for the Vezin buys instead of that Marui. It looks like Proxy, I think, is the only, perfect Marui user. They know where to use the Marui and when to actually engage with the Valor players here. Yeah. And Valor is just having a hard time adjusting here. But again, this is IVNA on defense on Factory, right? It makes sense.
Yeah, it is. They're locked in. They're playing well. They are coming off of obviously a map 1 win and looking to finish this series up in 2 at this pace. If they can take a 5-1 opener, they just got to lock in 2 rounds on the attack.
Exactly.
go. Into the hatch play opener. As Jims and Ice Beast analyze their surroundings. A couple of shots from Swift as the drone does its job in assessing the on-site defense.
Yeah, IBNA definitely holding down the positions here, really anchoring down to these sites here, waiting for Valor to make some kind of movement here. And I think Valor's just biding time, trying to figure out which angles do they approach, which ones do they push against IBNA, because it just has been a struggle for them on this defense. And again, they have, 1, 2, 3, 4 buys in, definitely going all in on this round, being that it's round 6 here.
Yeah.
IBNA is just waiting for this Valor attack to set up.
Every dollar spent, and I think the second point could be vital for Valor having a possibility of taking the second map back from underneath the hands of IV. But I think if this goes 5-1, I don't know if that curse is really going to come into effect or not. But either way, IV are dang close, and so far nobody's dead. Whole minute ticked down. Incendiary doesn't go deep enough to zone Swift off, and instead Kha'Zix peeks out on the short corner to find the kill.
Oh, and great usage of that smoke. Kind of doing a similar job to the Incendiary, really zoning out these areas, but obviously not doing the same amount of damage here. Proxy getting that pick off on Crimson there. Looks like Ice Beast going in for the EMP plant, and everyone is starting to charge site here. A lot of Incendiary all over the floor. The floor is lava. Ice Beast getting that pick. 1-2 pick from there, but Keisha going in for that refrag. Now leaving it all the way down to just Donk with the EMP being planted there.
And what does Donk do? At least the EMP, to your point, is down. So hatch play is the reality, but Ivy can trio stack the stairs and come barreling up. They have to fast.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, you go for probably the tab. You got 2 players playing above them. I'm waiting for Donk to make some kind of action. You're getting that pick off.
Nice.
There's the refrag.
Pretty close, though, on time at the end of the day, but nonetheless, a solid hold from the Ivy defense. 5-1 out the gate. It was chaos there, though, for a moment. And again, Martini, the incendiaries are key. They do such a tremendous job of zoning the defense. I mean, look at this. It's the entire floor is lava.
I love just seeing the whole floor lit up there. And it feels comedic, right? You're just like, there's no way this is happening in a tactical game like Breaches. But that's what happens when you make these big adjustments from Triangle Factory, right? These teams have to adjust, or they will lose to those strategies here. And I got to say, IBNA and Valor have both adjusted so well here.
Yep.
But IBNA, I think it's just the technical team looking really good. But again, that was them on defense. That was them holding it down on the advantaged side here. But to your point, this is 5-1. I don't expect a 5-1 curse here, because all Ivy needs to do is get 2 more, right? But that isn't to say that Valor can't get a couple more rounds in the pocket there, at least getting a little bit closer in terms of that point differential.
Yeah, I do see some folks. Hopefully, hopefully Bob comes back. But for now, me and Martini will hold down the fort as we get into round number 7, the second half of this series. IVNA. I mean, Martini, they're just in control.
I mean, they're looking great here. I'm waiting to see what Valor does on this defense here. IC's playing so aggressive here. Looks like they have 2 roamers coming out here. I'm just waiting to see if Ivy plays against the roamers or if they decide to just rush it in.
Yeah, they've got the utility to assist. Incendiary there, slowing things down for a moment. The static emitter just around Ice Beast on the corners, so that's going to be key. And maybe also whatever's going to happen up here is going to be key. Look at this. Crimson tucked into the corner. Finds almost 2 as Keija picks up the refrag.
Yeah, Crimson getting a lot of value off of that roaming play here. I mean, so much chip damage on one of the players on Ivy, but not quite enough there. Gizmo getting a great incendiary there. Looks like everyone barreling into the storage room. Keija getting another pick off on Donk, and now it's just in a 3v2 situation, but that health economy is going to at least tip it a little bit towards Valor, but not quite enough, because that's still a 3-2 situation here, and it looks like only Jims is on site, so Sleeso's got to get value on that back there.
Yeah, Keija's holding the flank just to make sure nothing comes through. Kha'Zix also watching, and like you said, Jim's the only one holding things down. And how long does Sleetso wait before they push? With 3 alive, you can really make sure your flank doesn't get exposed, and you can monitor that. Even some shots coming in there, just guesswork, but nothing connects.
Yeah, Sleetso really trying to... Jim goes in for the pick there,
Nope.
and it looks like...
Nope,
Pinch
we're
almost
into the 1v2
working there.
now. So close. If it had just been slightly timed by Jims, who doesn't find the double. And IV with a successful dance from Swift, take this
Oh man.
entire series
Oh,
to
man.
series point right here. They need one more to go. It's do or die for both sides now, Martini. You have to spend everything you have.
I mean, this is a buy round. Effectively for Valor, at least, this is a buy round because there's no other round to rely on here. IVNA though, they have a lot of different choices to make here, right? Do they go all in, really try to secure out this one round, or do they realize, hey, we have a couple more rounds, maybe we should just kind of focus on the long-term economy in hopes that all we need to do is get, remember, one more round. So that's all they need to do, right? That's all they need to do at this point with the 6-1 here. But I get it. If I were IVNA, I'd be saying, hey, let's get this. Let's showcase, hey, that first round was a fluke. We're clinical. We're surgical here. Let's get this 7-1 against Valor, because 7-5 was amazing showing there.
Yeah, it definitely was. They are locking it in now. Maybe it was the warm-up, Martini. I don't know. But they look definitely in better shape on map 2, on a factory. Maybe it was the map, because they're more comfortable here. That's very true. Clearly. And if this is all true, then it's information for their opponent tomorrow to take into fact, which we'll find out who that's going to be immediately after this. Another best of 3 with Apex and Aspect duking it out comes up right after this one finishes. You're not going to want to go anywhere because the action continues today and into tomorrow. Same time, same place. We have our third place match and grand finals. Woo! Where a team will come out with over 2,000 in cash and hardware from our sponsors. It's the culmination, Martini, of months of gameplay, and it's almost here. I love it.
I'm excited. I love seeing the grand finals. I love seeing who the top team in the league is. It doesn't matter what your placement is on the ladder as long as you win out playoffs, right?
Yep.
But I mean, that's to say as if IVNA isn't already first place on the ladder anyways. But hey, things have been shooken up this season, and it has been a sight to see.
Nades come whizzing past the trio here as a nice incendiary slows them down for the moment. Another toss to the back line as the IV squad is kind of stacked and trapped for the moment, Martini.
Yeah, it looks like IVNA trying to get ready for this push in here. And again, Valor is just biding time, waiting for something to happen here. And we also have Crimson in the top. They're trying to get some potential roaming picks here. Gizmo going in for the pick there. And it looks like Valor trying to get some incendiaries out. Not able to get it in time. EMP has been planted. And everyone's barreling into this orange hallway here. And Crimson gets knocked out by Croxy.
Here comes the retake. They're all going to go up the stairs. They all know the task. Are they going to be ready for Gizmo on the flank with the pistol? The pinch, and down goes Valor in the effort to retake from IV. Oh. It's all up to Ice Beast, who is out of position and alone. And IV already celebrating, dancing. They know victory is theirs because the Omen is certainly not going to take out the remaining defense of IV. And they're going to finish things off for the win. It's a 7-1 victory in map 2, a 7-5 victory in map 1, and IV move on to the grand finals. Bob, is it an IV era?
Can you guys hear me?
We can indeed.
Okay, very sorry. Some strange technical issue has eliminated me, but yeah, what a game there. 5-7 map 1, 1-7 map 2. It's just, I definitely think it's not the performance that Valor really wanted to put in there. And you know what? I thought it would be closer here on map number 2, but IVNA found that footing. They were locked in, and ultimately they're going to walk away as the team that's going to go to those NA finals tomorrow. Big congratulations to them.
Yeah, it's an awesome achievement from them. Not necessarily surprising as the number 2 seed. I think most people would have voted IV to come out on top. But I think our next series has a lot of people wondering what the heck's going to happen. Aspect and Apex battling up against each other in a few minutes from now, so you're not going to want to go anywhere. Stay tuned for more action. When we come back, it's our second best of 3 of the day for Season 4 NA Top 4 Finals. Welcome back, everybody, to the Breachers VRML North American Final Four, Season 3. My name's Nightfire with 2 E's. I'm here with Gibular Bob and Martini. And Martini, I'll start with you. We've got Aspect and Apex. How are you feeling?
Great. I mean, we're talking about, we just came off of a pretty hot game. Things didn't quite work out the way that we had thought it would, but that was still a great showing, coming out from the Valor and IVNA players there. I mean, again, when we talk about clinical, we talk about surgical. It's definitely coming out in the form of IVNA here, and dare I say we might be entering an IVNA era, but they still got to win grand finals.
They do indeed, and they're going to have to beat the team that wins this afternoon, Aspect and Apex. And Bob, both of these teams have stepped up to the task of the postseason already so far this postseason.
Yeah, both of these teams, I think, have surprised everybody. We thought it was going to be F3 or Acer in this, in this spot here, but no, both of these teams eliminated Acer and F3, and so they've had a pretty difficult portion of the bracket to get here. Obviously, tomorrow against IVNA is not going to be any easier, but today is definitely going to be that big warm-up game. You've got Apex, the team that toppled Acer, Aspect, the team that toppled F3, and both teams, both games went into overtime multiple occasions, and so now we're going to see the battle of supremacy to see who's moving on to the money rounds.
Martini, we talked a bit about it offline. Tell me your thoughts on overtime, because we've seen it already a bunch.
Yeah,
today.
This is almost like, if you think about this bracket, this is almost overtime bracket, right? These guys have went to overtime multiple times. They both went to map of 3, right? They ended up coming out on the winning end of it, right? Some people argue maybe with the 6-6 and the point going to probably round differences at that point, would it have gone a little bit differently for that last week, right? And I say no. I say no because both teams last weekend, they both got the equal advantage to choose whatever site they want. They got to come in with full economy. If anything, that is the most even any of these games could ever get, right? And the only difference between the two being that whatever team performed better anyways in that game. So I always think overtime is actually a better way to settle out these 6-6s, because you're like, hey, this is coming down to just skill difference on this map. I'm gonna be quite on. Well, and site difference, right?
And speaking of maps, we're ready to go for our first map of this best of 3. It's taken us to Skyscraper. Bob, we haven't been here.
Yes.
Since I don't know when, maybe week 6 or something of the regular season. Skyscraper gets chosen as our opening map between these two teams. What do you think about this one?
So happy. There's such a big smile on my face. I've wanted to see Skyscraper all postseason because I do really love this map, and we just haven't gotten to see it yet. Obviously, this is thought to be more of an offensive-sided map, or excuse me, a defensive-sided map, but it has moments where the offense really, really steps up and can absolutely set the pace of the round. This is, I think, back to VRML Con when Skyscraper was our final map there in F3. We're on a crazy comeback streak on the offense. Just weren't able to find the win against Acer. And already, we're here at the Season 3 finals. We see Acer and Formula 3 out in the quarterfinals. What a time for VRML. But enough reminiscing. Here we go into the start of Apex versus Aspect. Representing Apex, Luna, Blaze, Ivis, Lightronics, and Weirdo. And over on Aspect, Lynx GTV, Ninja Tim, Banana Man, Faded, and Ibit.
Oh, change the team
Aspect on, Aspect on the offense, Apex on the defense. Here we go, and early. Well, I guess Aspect have cleared out the entire other side of the map, but look, there's only a minute 20 on the clock. Dare I say they've burned way too much time setting this up?
Yeah, the Incendiary is going to definitely be a stopper on the pace that they were hoping to set, right? And now another 15, 30, 20, I don't know how long is the Incendiary? 30 seconds? No, 15 seconds. Right?
15.
And, they're, if anything, Ninja Tim may be able to trap Lightronics. Lightronics has to get this kill on a Ninja Tim, otherwise things are going to get a little bit dicey with the push coming in from the rest of Aspect.
And Electronics catching Ninja Tim early. They're looking for maybe Faded too. Faded tried to get the refrag. It didn't happen. Blaze and Electronics kill. Ivis found one as well. And just like that, it's down to Faded with 40 seconds left to go on the clock. By the way, a little extra intel for you here. The map bans are Arctic and Ship. So we will not be visiting either one of those. But right now, I'm content with just watching Skyscraper. And not a great start at all for Aspect here, Martini.
Yeah, I think Aspect wanted to come in going for that roamer clearing because we understand that is just the site, Skyscraper, how it lends to roaming so well. But funny enough, if you, I believe, look at the Apex players, it looks like a lot of them actually played pretty anchored, right? So they probably lucked out in the fact that they got so much time advantage from Aspect learning or thinking that they would play into roaming here. But this is where the mind games come in, right? Does Apex throw out a roamer every once in a while to force Aspect to burn a lot of time in those entrances there, or do they kind of just lean onto this conservative anchoring here? But we'll have to see because it also might depend on the site, right? This is one of the few maps that actually has 4 sites, not just 3, but 4 sites, which is pretty uncommon for a lot of the other maps, right? They tend to be 3, so there's so much variety in this map. But I'm waiting to see when the first Marui comes out because this is a long, narrow hallways. This is literally exactly what the Marui is built for, especially with all those buffs from the last couple seasons here. So I'm kind of curious to see how Apex utilizes their defensive advantage here, how they utilize those long angles to their advantage, and if they even lean into any roaming at all, right? They might not even utilize them at all, which would allow Aspect to potentially start adjusting to that and waste less time. But that was a rough start. I mean, once Aspect started coming in, Apex were just picking them off player by player.
Yeah, it's a solid defensive hold to say the least, Bob, from them to open things up. And as Weirdo holds down radio room, we'll see what the Aspect push looks like. Seems to be, it could very well be server room push.
In drops Lynx GTV as a frag is tossed by the Apex team. Ninja Tim almost going down early again in the round. Lynx GTV looking to potentially find some damage with that Omen. Unsuppressed, by the way, which I think is kind of like shooting a flashbang at yourself every time you fire the gun. But in any case, 1:45 on the clock. Incendiary is deployed, and we're looking at Acer. Not Ace, I'm reading Ninja Tim's tag. We're looking at Aspect switching up over to the broadcast hallway, and I think maybe Apex have caught wind of the idea here.
Yeah, they saw him cross that doorway there. Foam goes down for the moment on B. EMP's tossed and grabbed by Lynx as they both, like you said, try and rotate over to an A site push, but that might be too late. And maybe it's time to commit now because they're getting pinched. A nice kill from the back end. Ivis goes down as well for their trouble, and it's the 4v3.
And here comes Lynx GTV and Ivan into site A. 1 goes down, 2 to Electronics. Lynx GTV found the Incin onto Luna, and it is now a 2 versus 2. But look, Faded on 1 health. Can't get any lower than that. Banana Man on 20 health. Also quite low on HP with only 45 seconds left on the clock. And the proximity alarm letting Electronics know that somebody is there. It looks like Banana Man always going to get caught in the incendiary. And you can just see it is so lethal now with that spread. There's just no escaping it. Quite a big radius there that you have to run away from. And when you're on 20 HP like Banana Man, not happening.
Faded has only 1 HP. Doesn't even have the luxury of any more than that. An Omen in hand, no less, so they're not going to catch an instant headshot kill. They're going to have to kind of fight for that HP, and I think it's going to be pretty dang tough for them to survive outside of finding some big headshots. And I guess they can survive, Bob, but they won't get the round win, and maybe not survive. Here comes Blaze around the corner with a pistol in hand, a slice of HP, but the kill nonetheless.
I don't know. Even with the surprise there, I might have leaned just go for the save. It was like literally a second or two off. You had an Omen in hand, by the way. And check out the side of Aspect there. It's going to be looking a little tough, right? They still don't really have much cash in hand to really get too many different assault rifles there. So looking hard. But hey, I mean, give a good shout out to those incendiary picks. I believe there's 2 coming out there. One of them from the side of Apex and one of them from the side of Aspect there. And that great rotation, I think, try to really mix things up. But I think they should have maybe potentially committed to it a little bit more. As it kind of got stuck. We noticed they got stuck in that hallway, and then people just started collapsing all over the spots. It started working out, though, for the side of Aspect there as they started getting those picks, started getting more in the favor for them there. But Apex, I mean, they've been able to hold down that site there. And this is why people do complain about Skyscraper. I get it. Like, it's very hard to take out some of these defensive holds here. But I think, now that we have that incendiary and it allows great zoning, it's a great tool to allow you to attack one specific site, right?
Looks like a late call, Bob, from Aspect to go for this bottom floor push coming in here.
This is kind of weird. They've done this twice where they've entered on the opposite side of the map, and I think they're just clearing out for those roamers, but you've got a drone here, maybe use the drone and try and clear those angles. But if you recall back to the first round, this was kind of the problem, is that they burned way too much time. And by the time that they had fully cleared out the other side of the map, they had only about a minute left to actually do anything, in which case they were stalled and promptly eliminated by the Apex team. So it looks like they picked up the pace a little bit more this round. A minute 40 on the clock as not 1 but 2 proximity sensors alert Apex to the push here. But surprisingly, there's only 2 in Site A right now. Ivus over in Connector along with Blaze, so they can provide support. But if both of your proximity sensors have gone off, this would make me a little bit worried, and I would probably shift the majority of my players over to A.
Double static emitter comes in, and Weirdo catches a nice angle onto Ibin over the corner there, and then Incendiary comes in to ward off the push, and Aspect, after finding both those transmitters, are kind of like, well, I don't know if we do want to try and push through this hole in the wall.
But at some point, you have to pick something to commit to, right? Because you've only got 50 seconds left on the clock. You got 4 players alive here, and they're just burning too much time to get a good push going. Frag is tossed, and they're going to have to clear out this, by the way, beautifully set up static field emitter defense. Another incendiary toss that's going to stall him for even longer. Lynx GTV looking to bring it around to the Site B hallway, and Blaze, weird pushing out. Blaze found an S-tier frag onto Faded, and it's up to Ninja Tim in a 1 versus 5. They catch 1, 2, looking for a third onto Luna. They catch 3 on Luna. Good, a drive-by there, essentially. 4 onto Ivus. Can they make it an ace onto Electronics? No, there's only 10 seconds left on the clock. Do or die now, Ninja Tim. You gotta push up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and it just doesn't happen. The EMP goes down. It was almost an insane moment here from Ninja Tim, but I think they're actually going to try and plant for the extra score there. They're looking for the Electronics, and it doesn't happen. They get the EMP down, and honestly, that was a power move by Ninja Tim there, Martini.
I would have been calling it an ego peak at that point. I mean, it kind of was, but I would ego peak too, but I got a 4K like that coming out there. But I mean, we saw this off meta push coming out from the Aspect players. Didn't quite work out for them until the very end. I will know that until the very end there, didn't quite work out for them. As we saw Weirdo and Blaze, I believe they came out, they got a 2-3-4K. Did I see that correctly? And we're going to be keeping our eyes out for players like Weirdo and Blaze. We saw them in that Acer game, right? We saw Weirdo with some nasty sniper shots from the Ruby, no less here. And then we're seeing same things in this game here, and same things from Blaze. I call Blaze, I'm going to be honest, I might call Blaze the utility expert in breaches. I've seen them get incendiary kills, frag kills consistently across all games at this tier. By the way, just like we saw that against Acer so much last week, I'm expecting to see the same thing from them again against Aspect here.
Round 4 kicking off, and if you are just tuning in, we've already had 1 best of 3 finish. That went kind of quick too. I think that first best of 3 happened in like an hour, so we're already into our second one. Both Aspect and Apex, the upsetters of Season 3, duking it out against each other. And so far, so good, Bob, for Apex.
So far, so good. Although the last round might be an indicator that once we swap sides, we could see Aspect really bring it back on their defensive half. But in any case, we're not quite there yet. We're only on round number 4. And yeah, it's definitely these teams are playing a little bit, taking a little bit longer with their pushes than we saw over in the IV and a Valor game. And in any case, Banana Man Iban's pushing in beautifully read from Blaze as they find Iban through the wall. Looking to find maybe another as Ninja Tim over in the window and the blind fire from Luna. They catch the window kill onto Ninja Tim. Linkstreet TV looking to get that wall foamed. Frag is tossed in. Banana Man finding Lightronics, and already we're in a 3 versus 4.
Yeah, Lynx has the opportunity to swing on the Blaze here, but they're not going to overcommit. And instead, it's going to be a 1-for-1 to swing from Weirdo on the back end. They find a triple down the long hallway. And Apex stay in it with Weirdo going 7 and 2.
Weirdo 3K. I'm telling y'all that Marui is, or sorry, is that a Bezin? Never mind. I'm just kidding. That gun in Weirdo's hand is deadly. Like they're really playing this great sniper role. They're getting so many picks. Getting so much value for the Apex players there. I hope they start paying them, right? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But no, I mean, we saw so much wall bangs coming out from Apex there. Again, these teams have locked in, as we can see on Skyscraper here. They put in the rounds, and they'll get these wall bangs, these blind fires that are working out in their favor here. I think you're right, Bob. This is probably just going to go the way of who can defend better, to be quite honest. Which team is more in tune with their defensive half here? And we can definitely see it here as Apex has locked in pretty well, 4-0. I mean, if they can get lockout a 6-0, that's going to set them up really well for that second half there. And I'm kind of curious to see how Aspect plays on their own defensive half.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big shift in momentum. And, I mean, to the point, though, Bob, if they can go a perfect 6-0, then that pistol round is a bit of a dice roll, even on Skyscraper.
Yeah, it really comes, you don't want to bet on that as the strategy because that would require you to have a perfect second half, which is something that almost never happens. I won't say it's never happened because it has happened before. Blaze, early frag here. They go for the spin around on an Ninja Tim, but there's Weirdo on the refrag. 2 rifles down as Linkstreet TV faded. Banana Man all make their way over into servers, and Weirdo's playing aggressive on the door. I have a feeling that they're going to just push out here and just absolutely rip through this Aspect offense. But for 1:45 on the clock, Weirdo picks up some damage to the incendiary, and it's going to be that broadcast room push.
Yeah, 100% now. The incendiary is zoning. Have to push off of that incendiary, though, and utilize that time. And oh no, they're pinched between 2. As Lynx and Banana Man take big damage. Weirdo and Ibis tucked up and tight against this entry point, waiting for the push, maybe waiting to swing as Weirdo goes down. Ibis finds one. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Lynx gets aggressive, scoops up another. Through the wall, 2 go down, and it's a 1v2.
It was an absolute slaughter for everybody walking in that area between broadcasts for both sides. But Faded, this is doable for Faded if they can play this right. They're looking to get the EMP planted. Oh, and it's dropped. Luna's looking for them through the wall. And there's Lightronics defending the captain. 5-0 as Apex. Well, Martini, they're 1 round off of that first half lockout.
I think with the buffs now for the incendiary, it's kind of hard to play through Skyscraper now. The hallways are so narrow. It's so deadly. We saw that sub room I think that whole room basically gets shut down, right? You knock out the front room, you knock out the middle, you're kind of messed up. And then if you throw in a frag, you're done. Like, you can't run because you're going to run into, a pool of fire on one end or a pool of fire on the other end, or run directly into your enemy anyways. So, these incendiary changes have definitely changed the game a lot. I think it makes, I will be honest, maybe I wouldn't choose Skyscraper anymore after the incendiary changes because it's so deadly, right? It's so deadly to be the attacking team here. And that's what we're seeing. Apex is really shutting them down here. We might see a full-on shutdown for this first half here, but I gotta say, Aspect have been trying at least here. They've definitely been trying here And I'm wondering, is it a map difference between these two teams, or is it honestly just a side difference?
Yeah, I think it's hard to say, Bob, because it's the postseason, and quite frankly, I don't know what's going on in the postseason. It is so hard to predict who is going to come out on top, even off of seasonal statistic performance.
Yeah, Skyscraper is one of those anomalous maps because of how random it can be sometimes. You know, we've the entire first year of Breachers was supposed to be the defense-sided map, and then for a while, offensive teams were winning on Skyscraper, and now we're kind of down in this point where it could be either team. It could be defender-sided, it could be offensive-sided, and look at the opening from Ivis onto Lynx GTV, as we're already into a 4 versus 5. And yeah, I think we'll see what happens once Apex are on the other side. And if they want to do that, they got to go 6-0 here if they want to have hope of winning on the second half. Banana Man and Faded really, really low. We're a minute 30 left on the clock, and already we're down into a 4 versus 2. And Banana Man almost makes it a 4 versus 1 as they're on just 7 health.
This Apex team are starting to feel a little overconfident, Bob. You can't let that end up impacting your performance too much. One person's gone down. That's not the end of the world. Another goes through the wall. That's a big pickup. And Ivis says, well, now it's time to commit out. The perfect half locked in by Apex. And, I mean, a 7-0 lockout map 1, Bob, that is worrisome. Martini, that's not what you want coming into your best of 3 in the final 4.
I mean, that's what you want if you're the side of Apex, right? You, if you're on Apex, you want to be like, yeah, we 7-0'd, we 7-0'd in 2 rounds. Let's go, IVNA. Let's give you a run for your money, right? Because here's the thing: you got to remember, this isn't it for whoever wins this. You got to go on. You got to be good enough to give IVNA a run for their money. So whoever is going to win this one out, they want to show out as best as they can. They want to have IVNA maybe thinking, hey, this might require some good work from us, right? And I think, you know, at least right now, this is the way that Apex is looking here. They want to show as much muscles here as they possibly can, because they want to show out tomorrow. They want to show IBNA, hey, this isn't a guaranteed first place for you. We want to make sure that you're fighting for this here. But that isn't to say, though, that Aspect can't come back here, right? They're on their defensive path, and we talked about how that really does favor on Skyscraper. So we'll see if that does play into their hand, or if Apex can break that.
Sort of interesting as well, since the last time these two teams played, Aspect were the ones who walked away with the win, and actually it was the win against Apex that really gave them a foot in the door to be that number 7 team. They played against another team in their final week, but that win against Apex was really what kind of put them in the position to make it to that 7th seed. So I think there might be a little bit of beef between these two teams, a little grudge match we have, and what better place to have it than in the semifinals as Lynx GTV picks up a lot of opening damage from Blaze.
And here we go into a push from Ninja Tim. They found big kills already for the Aspect squad and are helping open up some good damage onto Weirdo. The top floor push and the hatch play certainly going to be the move with how Apex are setting up, Bob.
Minute 20 on the clock, as I think we're going to see the Martini special, maybe a hatch drop here from Apex.
Hey, this is the one I approve of. This is the one I approve of.
Oh, you do approve of this one?
This specific hatch.
Yeah, I don't know what Apex is waiting on, though. We do see they're foaming the other hatch over to say, I think it might be a bait. I think they're gonna send it down one of these hatches. And there goes the one open on site A. They're waiting for the drop here. Lynx GTV on site B, along with Faded. And I think if they try this drop down here into site B, I don't know if it's going to end well for their team, but they have to do something because they're spending a lot of time not getting that EMP planted, and now they have to rush in, and here it comes. Those incendiaries are tossed through both sides. Electronics finds Lynx GTV Luna in the window, but that EMP has not been recovered, and Weirdo's going to take some of this time to get that EMP planted, but they have to spin around, find one onto Ivan, and it's now a 1 versus 3 with only 15 seconds left on the clock. It's up to Lightronics, and this is for all the marbles here. This could potentially give Apex a first map win, but no, it doesn't happen as Ninja Tim finds the kill onto Lightronics, and I don't know, Martini. I don't know if that was really as organized as I think Apex wanted it
Yeah,
to.
I don't know if you noticed that jump down was a little disorganized. They got the incendiary down, but I don't think anyone checked to the left. I'm not sure if they just had a blind spot where they just happened to not see the one aspect player in the corner there. But that's what I'm saying. When you play these jump hatches, there's so many variables moving, right? You have to like jump down, be exposed to a lot of new information without any great insight there. And the best you can do is toss in some utility and just hope like your whole team is somehow perfectly coordinated. And that's why I personally talk so much trash about those jump hatches, because it requires such a high level of skill to execute well. I'm not saying that these teams can't do it, but we saw this. Even Apex, a top tier team, kind of struggled coming down there, right? We didn't see people immediately going in for the side and attacking the person there. They got, I think, what, 1-2K almost from that one person alone.
Yeah, impressive job on the pistol round. And look at the buy coming in from the Aspect squad now on defense. 3 orals, Bob. The oral, definitely a weapon that we're seeing only used now in the postseason with those economic adjustments.
Yeah, once again, it's like if you ever told somebody at the beginning of the season that the oral would be used this much, I think they would have told you that you're crazy. I probably would have as well. But with a big meta change this season, some economy adjustments and some pricing changes, the RL has quickly found itself as definitely an extremely solid rifle to pick up early in the half. And Banana Man finds the kill on a Blaze, but will be refragged by Lightronics. Multiple flashbangs dumped into the site as we enter a 2 versus 4 now. Ivan found Ivis, and it's up to Lightronics and Weirdo. Weirdo's looking for Ivan, but ultimately, this is, again, not a great push here for Apex.
They're definitely getting stopped on their momentum. And, you know, I think the one major difference that we're going to experience here on Skyscraper in particular is that we're not going to tie this map. One team is going to be crowned winner. The tiebreaker is definitely a thing. And I've been going to catch Weirdo out to cut Apex down to just 1.
Well, if you're Lightronics, there's not really a whole lot of point to saving here. They're going to look to try and get a jump onto Ninja Tim, and they will find that. Pick up the RL as well. And now I think they're going for it. They've foamed the wall over into the B2 lounge. But again, there's only 45 seconds left on the clock, so there's not a whole lot of time to get in and get that EMP planted. Speaking of which, they don't have possession of the EMP either. Recover the health stim, and I think they might just go and try and clean out the sites and see if they can get the picks that they need. Problem with that is that Ivan's on the other side of the map, so even if Lightronics can clear out both Faded and Lynx GTV, they're still going to have to deal with that Aspect player that's just going to run and play time.
And 13 seconds left for Lightronics. They might be able to find a couple of kills on the flank, and now they've given away the game, and so that flank is instantly shut down. And I don't know, there could have been an opportunity there to find a few, or at least take a health syringe and an oral away with you. Instead, it is Aspect taking their second defensive point, Martini, and here we go. It's the side swap. It's, you know, it's starting here.
That's what we talked about earlier. I personally would have gone for the save. I know we've seen so many saves, I believe, in this, you know, these 2 games here. But I think if anyone's going to call a save, I would have been calling a save there. You got an all-rail, by the way, which they didn't have. They had a spectral, and that was it. That makes sense to just send it, right? It doesn't matter because you're going to buy something in the upcoming round anyways. But, I mean, check out the side of Apex now. 1, 2, 3 SMGs. Someone else could have had an all-roll now if you think about that. And a syringe on top of that. So these are some of these choices that I think Apex, I talked about in the previous game against Acer. They have the chops. They have some really good gameplay coming out from them. But I think just these small mistakes that really allow these other teams to really capitalize and get value on it. But again, this might just be a side difference thing, right? We're seeing, look at Aspect. They're performing well right now. We've seen several rounds now. We have several players up, right? And again, this is why maybe I get it. Teams dislike Skyscraper, but I fight against that. I've seen teams win on offense. It's possible. You just gotta lock in.
I mean, I was about to say that too, Martini. I don't think that as Aspect you can ever really settle down or get too comfortable on this map, because a 6-0 half is hard to execute on. Apex getting that locked in is not easy for then Aspect to replicate.
Yeah, it's why it's so, you definitely do not want to get locked out in the first half, because you have to play perfectly here if you're Aspect. If you lose even one round, that's it. The map is over and done. So even just the smallest little mistake is what could ultimately cost you the entire map. So again, not saying that it's impossible to get a perfect game, and that's something that's on the table here for Aspect, but keep in mind that even if they do go to that 6th point and they have that perfect second half, they also have to get more score than Apex so that they can pick defense in the overtime round. But in any case, we see Blaze charging in. Ivan found Luna. Multiple gunfights happening here as Lightronics finds the kill on the Ninja Tim. Here's Ivan on the flank, looking for Ivus potentially, and Ivus just heading back over into Site B, waiting for maybe Ivan to push the flank a little bit. Faded, meantime, finding Weirdo and Ivus, and Lynx GTV catches Lightronics to give Aspect their 3rd round. And Martini, I don't know, it's kind of looking a little bit more doable here every round for Aspect.
It's looking tough. I'm going to be quite honest. Knowing Apex, I'd be calling some crazy eco plays. I'm like, hey, go eco this round. Let's just go all in on. Because there's the thing. They just need one. They just need one a round. There's nothing more than you need. So doing these weird eco things back and forth, I think is not beneficial for the team. You might as well just kind of lock in towards the end there. Just kind of bet all in on this one, because at the pace we're going, Aspect's going to obviously keep winning. They're going to keep winning. So you might as well just try to get them within the first 2-3 rounds and go all in on one of those rounds here. But I'm just not seeing that. Actually, no, I think I am seeing it from the Apex side. They're just getting SMGs at this point, getting Spectrals. We might see an all-in on the upcoming round, to be quite honest. We're seeing a lot of investment this current round. Even with the loss and the loss bonus, that should work out for them. I expect it all-in from Apex. If they win this one, great. Otherwise, I think they know they have the next upcoming round in the pocket. In terms of economy. I will note that.
Yeah. Reminder, too, for those that are unaware of the economic changes between season and postseason, SMGs net you more money on kill. So that's why the SMG investment now is even more worth it than it used to be.
A number of very important changes in that update. But yeah, I mean, we even saw SMG prices were lowered, and now they give you more money on those kills, as Nightfire mentioned. So that's why you're seeing teams investing in a lot of those. That's why you're seeing more rifles, more off-meta choices. I guess you could originally call them off-meta, but now, it can be very beneficial to pick up an Arl. It can be very beneficial to pick up a Cadillo or some other form of SMG. So yeah, I've called Season 3 the season of the change, and that's really kind of what it's been. There's been so many big updates and things that have been added, tweaks to the quality of life of the game, and also to the meta. And so, again, very different game from how it looked at the start of the season. This is, of course, the new season with 2.5-minute rounds instead of the regular 3. So even just the length of games has been dramatically lessened. But in any case, while I've been rambling here, we've seen only a minute left on the clock. Weirdo catching Iban. And once again, we're seeing Apex wait way too long to get the push executed here.
Yeah, they do have the advantage, though, at the very least. The 5v4. How long will that last as Ninja Tim battles back the push through the doorway. Luna extends out onto the lean. Finds a nice refrag. Really well done. And Aspect are down to just 2. They've lost control of B site. EMP goes down easy.
And this could be the break that they needed if Faded can't
Oh my
drop
God.
1v4 clutch. They find one onto Luna, looking for Lightronics, who gives up their position a little bit early. Now Faded knows where their gunfight is. But Lightronics looking to rotate back over to site B, and it's going to be difficult. No matter which way you slice it for Faded, this is for that first map win. Apex with a dominant defensive half, and it doesn't happen. Perfect read by Ivis, and your map 1 winners are Apex.
Martini, here we go. Into series point for map 2 for Apex, because it's a best of 3. And they have a chance of coming out as the team to go up against IVNA. And quite frankly, they looked great there on defense for their perfect defensive half, and then that attacking round.
I just, I spent so much time talking about how there's no way Apex gets that one round. We're talking about 4 or 5 SMGs against a fully stacked aspect side with them on the defense on top of that, and they were doing so well because they had several rounds back to back to back. And I talked about the fact that Apex had the backup round in the the upcoming round for them to rely on and be good. But you know what? Sometimes you just throw all that out, throw the script out and just win that round out anyways, because you're Apex and apparently you're built like that. And I think that's what we had saw that round. We saw some big overcommitments from the aspect players, right? They had such dominant showing on that defensive side, obviously for obvious reason, right? As we see, it's a big side difference for both teams there, and they had so much economy on their side. But you say it all the time, right? You can't get overconfident. You can't let that mess up how you're playing there. And I think that's what happened for Aspect, and it allowed Apex to come in, even on their own eco round, and win it out 7-3.
Yeah, it's a tremendous opener for Apex, and I don't know, Bob, it feels like a large portion of it was on the map pick that led them into that 7-3.
Yeah, that's a fair argument to make. But still, it got to that point. You could have banned it. Somebody had to pick that map. So I think the home team is Apex. So Apex either picked the map or the side that they started on. So that means either Aspect picked that map, or that means that they picked offense. But either way, it was a preventable circumstance if they knew they didn't have a good Skyscraper game. So I think you could make the argument that it was entirely due to the map, but I don't think it was. I think we saw a very locked-in Apex playing there.
Yeah, and I mean, why wouldn't you see them locked in? It is the postseason. We're here in the Final Four with cash on the line, thanks to our sponsor, Triangle Factory, contributing into the prize pool and obviously making the game that we're enjoying here today. Fantastic developers of not just Breachers, but also other games like Hyperdash. Recently, you may have noticed the Dash League announced that VRML and Dash League will be working together. More details on that partnership will be coming in the near future, but we're happy as ever about that collab, and you are going to want to keep your eyes peeled for more details in the coming weeks and months. But again, Triangle Factory, developer of fantastic games and active competitive scenes in both of their shooters. It's a testament, like we've been saying, Martini, a fantastic dev team from Triangle Factory.
Much love to Triangle Factory.
They are stellar, and we do appreciate their support. Also, of course, HyperX coming in with hardware into the prize pool. You've seen their ads. You're hearing my voice through the HyperX Procast S right now. And we do really appreciate their contribution into the prize pool. First place and second place coming away with gear at the end of the day. Definitely something to keep the eye on. And if you want a 15% discount for any purchase in North America, you can go to the HyperX website and pick up 15% discount on all purchases in North America. Again, you can do that by using code HXVRML23 at checkout. And we really do appreciate that. If you do use that code, it ends up supporting the VRML financially as well, and so we really do encourage you to do that, because obviously a win-win for VRML and for you as you get that discount. You also can buy our ProTube VRMLCon 2024 stock. The exclusive stock debuted at VRML Con last year, is available right now online. If you want to pick it up, you can go to pro2vr.com and buy that right now. That also goes back into supporting the VRML financially, and so we really do appreciate that support. Last but not least, of course, the Exclaim merch. We just dropped our final, our Season 3 Top 8 shirt. It's live on the Exclaim store. It's the first of what will be many merch drops coming down the line for future seasons and throughout the course of this year. So keep your eyes peeled on the Exclaim store for more details and more info on more merchandise, but obviously also pick up your Season 3 shirt right there, right now. We're ready to go, Bob. We've stalled long enough. It's map number 2, and it's taking us to Hideout.
And crazy to think that, I mean, in just a couple rounds, we could have that other finalist that's going to go against IV tomorrow. Reminder, if you're just joining us here, that map number 1 went to Apex 7-3. Map number 2 could potentially go to Apex, in which case it would be the end of our series right here and now. But in any case, we're looking at hideouts. Apex starting off on the offense, Aspect on the defense. Perhaps Aspect just didn't have enough time to cook on their defensive half, and we could potentially see a big change in momentum. But that's not to say that maybe Apex have also been practicing a lot of hideouts. Again, completely different map. Skyscraper has that stigma with it that it's defensive sided, and not so much for hideout.
Here comes the foam, and eventually the push onto what seems to be A. Although we have seen some fast and furious rotations, especially in the pistol rounds, Bob.
Yeah, and actually, Aspect won off of a fast rotation, a complete switch up on F3 to block them out and keep them out of the semifinals. So could happen here. Question is, will it? As Ivis is looking to take out that static field emitter that's in a pretty pesky spot. A minute 10 on the clock as Lynx GTV looking for that early pick. And we do see, of course, the Incendiaries purchase. And once again, Apex taking a little while to get the push set up here. Frag, Incendiary tossed into the middle of the site. Apex has got to go in and get that EMP planted at some point, but they're caught before they can even make it in.
Yeah, Lynx GTV is tucked into a tight corner, a very effective one. Aspect looking to put on a dominant pistol performance here on defense because there's no utility getting thrown here to the back line. Finally, Weirdo connects on a Lynx GTV, but it's at the cost of quite a bit. That static emitter in particular really throwing a wrench in the plans of Apex.
I'm very surprised that neither Luna nor Ivis tried to clear out that static before they pushed in, because at the end of the day, it cost both of them their lives. Now there's only 20 seconds on the clock. Weirdo picks up a lot of damage from the Incendiary, and we could start to see the start of the Aspect rise here, as another Incendiary is going to block off the entire area for 15 seconds, and not enough time for anybody to push in, and it's going to be round 1 to Aspect.
It's the Incendiary era, Martini, as this update has definitely seen its impact into the game for this postseason.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to call it a buff to either side. They both can get Incendiaries, right? And they're both useful for offensive pushes and zoning out for that, and then defensive plays against teams and zoning for that. So it's definitely very useful for both teams. I would almost consider it maybe a tier above frags now, because it has so much value, so much things you can do with it, especially with the new update making it even better than it already was. You know, it's definitely changed the Incendiaries there. But I mean, we saw Aspect hold it down against F3 before on their defensive side against F3 now. So I'm wondering, is this the lock-in that Aspect's going to need here? Just lock in on this defensive half, do a really good job against Apex, and then maybe push this to a map 3. And the same thing happened, right? They had these statics in these very pesky spots that even the F3 squad was struggling to take out there. And you know, Aspect, as we can see on their defensive side, they know how to play with those statics. It's almost like they're utilizing them like alarms, right? Where they kind of force someone to be in a bad position and go for a pick there.
That one static in particular, Bob, is one that we really actually have only started to see in postseason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a bit more of a trademark static that we've seen from Aspect. I haven't really seen any team use that one too much, but it's in a pretty pesky spot because you actually have to play space in and lean around the corner to shoot the top of that static field emitter. And that, I mean, it's been a thorn in the side of F3. It's been a thorn in the side of Apex. And, well, maybe we'll see if Apex heads over to the defensive half. They might give Aspect a taste of their own medicine. So we'll see. But in any case, what's happening right now is some map wrapping around Site A, and we could potentially see a bar push here, as I think Luna is just drawing a lot of attention from this Aspect defense. But a minute 20 on the clock, and really nobody is anticipating the push onto Site A.
Maybe except for Banana Man, who does ID Luna down the long alleyway. The nade rolls in underneath the door blocker, and a great coordinated push from Weirdo and Blaze. Sets Apex into A site, and you're right, no one saw it coming. Aspect caught off guard.
I don't know, did Banana Man not call that out? But now we're seeing a stack of Aspect players pushing in, but here's Ivis was waiting over in bar, got a lot of damage on an Ninja Tim, and it's up to Lynx GTV now. And ultimately, I really think that this could have been solved if there was a little bit more communication about bar. I mean, Banana Man got into a gunfight with Ivis, no rotation from any of the Aspect players, Martini. And then we saw Banana Man got pushed in. They were in a gunfight with somebody, and then two players opened up the door blocker behind them and killed them. And it's still, like, it wasn't until the EMP got planted that we saw a rotation coming in from Aspect. And I don't know, it was just kind of weird to me.
Yeah, it might have been a misplay, honestly, from the Aspect players. To your point, Banana Man had seen not just one, because I would have given it to Banana Man if they'd only seen the one Apex player and that was it.
Right.
But I think someone else from Aspect literally took they just slid down right onto the window. So you knew that some players were waiting there on the rappel there. And that potentially a spot might have came in. But, I mean, I will give Banana Man a little bit of breathing space there, because they probably only saw the 1-2. Even if they did call it out, I don't know if you noticed, I think it was a couple of seconds after Apex had the frag coming in from underneath the door. They were coming in immediately. It was like, imagine if you started yelling out to your friend like, hey, I think SEAL Team 6 is here, and they come like 2 seconds after you say that. That's exactly what happened there.
Yeah, it's hard to react fast enough to that point. And they were still just a little late to the party. The retake there didn't work for them very well. And now we go to a mid-floor OBJ for round 3. Curious how they plan on playing this one out.
Love the analogy. Martini, yes.
I saw it in Banana Man's face. They turned around, frag, bam.
Yeah, no, it was good. But Faded caught Luna, by the way. Early pick for Aspect to get. As we see a frag is tossed, Blaze finds Ninja Tim. As once again, we're seeing a very spread out Apex offense here. The EMP is actually down in the back of Garage. Nobody's picked that up. I'm wondering, maybe they're anticipating somebody else has gotten it, but a couple of kills here. Blaze finds the kill on a Banana Man. Weirdo takes out Iben. And we're into a 3 versus 2. Numbers now heavily in favor of Apex with a 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, Aspect just trying to do damage on their pistol round here, it seems, right? If they can get another kill here and find 3 kills at the cost of 5, I think it might actually be kind of a net positive on the round for them. So we'll see if Fada can scoop up any extra bits, but Apex are full HP. They do have health syringes, even a bit of utility left. It's not going to be, by any means, an easy retake, or one that's probably going to happen.
Yeah, I definitely think the third is going to have to be to get the net positive, but I don't know if that's going to happen because, look, Apex are so dug in. It might have just been worth it while they're trying to scramble and get the EMP planted to push in and see if you can find a pick that way. But at this point, I don't know if it's possible for Faded to get a pick here. They do recover that Viper, and Weirdo with a very brutal angle will find the kill as the EMP diffuses the bomb at the same time, and Apex are taking the lead in this second map.
In control,
Yeah.
Martini.
Yeah, not shocked. I mean, we saw Apex come in with some really big buys there, so it was just a severe economy advantage for them against the Aspect players. So we'll have to see if Aspect can really bring it back on this upcoming round here. I mean, check out economy looking a lot healthier for both teams now, as Aspect finally able to get some hands on those Vezins and Maruis here. But this is where they're gonna have to hold it down. This is what I call one of those kind of catalyst rounds, right? It allows them to potentially win, gain some momentum on their side, and really force it through a couple more rounds, potentially 2 rounds 6, right? There's only a couple more rounds left in this first half here, but Apex looking really good. Even if they do lose this, I think they'll be fine in the upcoming round. So Aspect's got definitely a bigger hill to walk up, even if they win out this one round here against Apex here. But man, it's tough. It is definitely tough for the Aspect players, as Apex has been showing their A game. I mean, 7-3 on that first one. I'm excited to see what they can put up on this map.
Here we go. Round number 4. So far, Apex in the lead, Bob, and it's not what you want to see if you're an Aspect fan or if you're on that Aspect team. You cannot allow this Apex squad to start to snowball the second map, too.
Yeah, and they're already kind of starting off with that 2-point lead, so the pressure's on for Aspect. They're running out of chances to get a grip here against Apex, and maybe this is the round where they do that. I mean, some of these rounds have been very, very close between these two teams, and so I don't want to write Aspect out yet here, because I definitely think a team that beat F3 has potential to stay in this postseason. But right now, Weirdo is just walking through the site, clicking heads, and it's up to Banana Man and Lynx GTV. And, you know, on Skyscraper, we said maybe it could be attributed to the fact that Apex are on the defense, that they're performing so well. But now we're not on Skyscraper, and we're seeing Aspect on the defense, and I'm wondering, you know, maybe I don't know what's happening to Aspect here, but they just haven't had a great first map, and now off to the second map, they're about to be 2 rounds down.
Yeah. Yeah, not in a good place, to say the least, Martini. Another eco, though, and how much is this really going to help them in going into round 5?
Yeah, you're only going to have 2 Vezins coming into the upcoming round. Like, the best you can get is maybe some players getting some SMGs and hoping you can just swap those Vezins whenever they get died out there. But I mean, Apex is just gonna be flush with cash here, and I mean, dare I say, Aspect might have had an easier time playing against F3 on Hideout, to be quite honest here, because they've been struggling to beat against his Apex attack here, and it's just been fighting them and kicking them down here. So much credit to the Apex players. They're making it look like light work for them, because they're 3-1 now, so much cash in hand here. You're really making an Aspect have to really scrape from the bottom of the barrel here. And I mean, Weirdo again getting vital picks, like 2-3K consistently there. Definitely one of those MVPs I'd call out for the Apex squad there. I don't know. Aspect's got to do something different here to shake it up and at least they want to give themselves a couple rounds, so by the time they get onto offense themselves, they have a little bit of a safety net, right? They don't want what they had on the previous map, where like any erroneous mistake will cost you the game. So Aspect's already looking a little bit better in this first half here, having the 1 round in the pocket, but they're gonna want to get 2, potentially forcing that 3 if they can.
We do have a bunch of great folks in chat hanging out, including an old famous face, Filibust, tuning in. We don't see them often enough anymore, but happy to have you here stopping by. Amongst everyone else that's been hanging out, we've seen some players from EU stopping by, and we really do appreciate everybody that has been sticking with us throughout the entirety of today, because it's been a long day. We got another long day tomorrow. Bronze match and grand finals for EU and NA. There's a lot of action left this weekend, Bob. It's really only the start, but here we go into the final rounds of the first half of map 2.
And Ninja Tim playing aggressive in garage here, looking to make use of that Omen, but I think they're still getting droned by Ivis nonetheless, who actually we made a mastering the meta with You can go and check that out on this channel. This is Mastering the Meta for droning S-tier frag from Weirdo onto Ninja Tim, and we're down to a 5 versus 3. Apex topping up on health, and this looks like it could sway in the favor of Apex yet again.
Yes, it does indeed. They've got control of the area. They've got their early picks, and what was an odd vault out from Ivan doesn't pay off. Aggressive setup from Ninja Tim doesn't pay off, and now onside defense is weak, Bob. Apex are in control, and even with that transmitter distracting, they will be eventually pushing in here with confidence on the B site.
Lynx GTV looking to hold the door, control it. Lynx finds Ivis and catches a flash, but is looking for another kill. An Aspect are desperately fighting to stay in this as Lynx finds a second kill. Faded with the third as it's now a 3 versus 2. Numbers in favor of Aspect. And only 35 seconds left on the clock. This is very doable now. Banana Man catching a lot of damage, but Lytronics evens the board as Blaze finds the next kill. And it's a back and forth battle. Blaze covering the swing. Lytronics covering the swing of Blaze. And it's up to Banana Man as the EMP is planted. 45 seconds left. Another flash tossed in that's going to catch Banana Man. And could it be curtains here for Aspect in this round? It's still a doable scenario for Banana Man, but they are going to have to lock in, and look at the quick fire from Lytronics. That's a perfect indicator, by the way, that the cloaking device is definitely not in unusable territory.
Yeah, definitely got them the advantage on that head peek. They got that nice scoop up, and Martini, Apex are a point away from taking a clean 5-1 offensive half on Hideout. That's pretty strong to me.
I mean, yeah, look at Apex right now. I talked about this last week when you're playing against the Acer. I think the biggest defining trait I got to give them is tenacity. And that was something we had seen in Acer in the first couple rounds. No matter how many times you shot at them, I swear they just always survived there. And I mean, check out this previous round from Apex there, right? It was going back and forth. Aspect finally tipped things back in her favor, getting a lot of picks there. But Apex themselves, even with that player disadvantage, able to make things still work out and get some vital picks, allowing them to really win out that round there. And I mean, that tenacity is gonna be really hard for for Aspect to really fight against here. And they're gonna be fighting against the same thing on the defensive half here, right? So they want to go in for this 5-1 here, and this is probably the closest chance that they have here with 4 or 5 assault rifles in hand here. So I don't know. It's a tough game. I can definitely understand where Aspect's dealing with. Apex is not a team to slack against.
Here we go into the action for map number 2. It looks like Apex are riding a wave, Bob. And will they put a 5-1 half up? I think a 4-2 half is Aspect with the possibility of a win still in there, is still in play there.
Ooh, Blaze picks up some damage. Yeah, there's 4-2 on the board. There's also 5-1, in which case we could open the door for the discussion. Maybe 5-1 curse. I don't know. It all depends on how the second half goes. And there it is, the dedicated fragmentation grenade for that pesky static. And Apex are going to be glad to get rid of that one as incendiaries are tossed. And Martini said this very early on in our matchup between IVNA and Valor. The real meta here is going to be to try and bait out the utility from the other team. Very nice picks, by the way, from Lynx GTV as they find Weirdo. Frag toss into the back of the bathroom as Lynx finds their second kill, and they're going to get a little bit more aggressive, push up into the smoke, maybe look for a third kill while they're at it.
They could eventually spring out here and try and catch Blaze unaware. That's the plan. Out of the smoke, and the timing's just a little off. The rotation is in effect from Apex, and that push costs Lynx their life. A quick refrag sets things back up into a 2v4. Banana Man gets burnt down by an incendiary. It's a 2v3. Lytronics and Blaze, the duo that's been alive most of the time when it's come down to it, Bob.
3 versus 2. Doable, but difficult for Apex as they shift back over to Site A, where they might have the best chance of succeeding in this round. Blaze picks up some damage from Ninja Tim, just looking to get that EMP planted. No more util in the hands of Apex, and Lightronics was just a little bit late to cover the swing of their teammate Blaze. And now they're in a really tough spot as they're getting pinched from 2 angles. They get that EMP planted, Cloak goes back up, and now they're going to have to look for Ivan, and no, it doesn't happen. And that's why you have to be watching the swing of that player who's planting the EMP, because, well, if you aren't, they're going to get swung by the other team and have nobody defending them.
That was a really good play, Martini. I don't know if you noticed the timing from Ivan. As soon as the EMP was planted, Ivan stood up, sprinted through the doorway, knowing there's only one left alive, knowing that they had to get into position to go for that pinch.
I mean, I think Aspect really showcased that they still have to chop themselves, even though it's been a losing battle for them 4-2. But again, this is attacking on Hideout, right? This is one of those maps that tend to favor a little bit more on that offensive half there. So this is what I was talking about, that Aspect wants to get as many on the defensive half to really secure this in the second half now with them attacking. Wanted to give a quick shout out though. It looks like Wesley from Triangle Factory is in the chat. So much love out there to the Triangle Factory staff. We love seeing y'all come out here. But anyways, great. And I think give a shout out to Lynx. He was vital in that room, getting 2K in the beginning, going for the rotation. Didn't quite get that 3K, unfortunately, as I think had pre-fired, and that kind of did give the Apex players a little bit of knock of, hey, someone's coming out of this smoke here. But hey, that 2K was still great and really knocking down that Apex attack there.
I think I got it on replay. The dedicated nade used to get rid of the tripwire and static emitter, and Bob, it's vital. You need to. That's one way of getting rid of what is otherwise a tremendous block. As what is going on? Blaze catches Banana Man extending out the window to look for more, almost scoop it up. An aggressive opening that sets Aspect down a player early.
Oh, and Lynx
my goodness.
Third Luna finds another one. And it's up to Faded, the drone. Even their drone wasn't able to get in the building. And an incendiary is tossed as Faded looks to collect the EMP. A minute 55 on the clock. But what do you even do here if you're Aspect? I mean, it's a 5 versus 2. Just down to Faded and Ninja Tim. They weren't even able to set foot. They tried to look in the building and they were shot for that.
That is a clearly defined play from Apex, in that they say, hey, let's hit our windows. Let's push up. Let's extend out. Let's try and guess that Aspect are going to push from this side. And if we guess right, then we've got them caught out.
Luna is playing the mind games upstairs, breaking a window. Fada's looking at somebody up there, and they get caught by excuse me, I think it's Blaze way in the back. No, Ivis finds the kill onto Faded, and Ninja Tim has somehow, through all of this chaos, made it in the building. They don't have the EMP. There's only a minute on the clock. And they have that cloaking device, so they're going to look for Blaze, and they find the kill. Ninja Tim playing the stealth game, as the name suggests. They're going to look for Ivis, but they pick up a lot of damage from that. And now we're going to see the pinch from another angle as Weirdo finds the kill, makes it that 5-2 game. And Martini, we are just 2 rounds away from seeing our contender against IV tomorrow.
I mean, look at this aggressive defense from Apex. At one point, I was wondering and asking myself, did anyone enter the building yet? Did anyone actually enter the building yet? And lo and behold, who's always the one that somehow survives, always gets some crazy picks there. I mean, Ninja Tim consistently always alive in the end. But I mean, check out this aggressive defense coming out from the Apex players. 1, 2, 3K, I think at some point on the outside there. That's got to be terrifying. Being on Aspect, saying, but how come we can't even enter the building? And again, this is supposed to be offensive sided. This is supposed to have them be in the favor here, but that didn't feel like it at all there.
Yeah, it didn't. It does feel like, Bob, it's Apex in control with a 7-3 map 1 win, and now on the cusp of series point. They just need one more, and then they're challenging Aspect every single round for their life. If Aspect lose, they are out of contention for $1,000 in cash to second place, over $2,000 to first. It's what these teams are competing for, and it's all thanks to our sponsor, Triangle Factory. We appreciate them. We love to shout them out. And here comes the play. Look at this push, Bob. A full stack in through that hat, through the broken wall. A nice defensive hold from Luna, but it only nets them 2 kills. An Incendiary comes into the back line, but it's too deep. Lynx gets the plant. Another Incendiary follows up, and Weirdo says, I'm an offender, and pushes forward through the outside wall.
Oh, God.
Wow, that is very unfortunate. You know, it looks like it might be an Aspect win at first, and then just randomly we saw Apex completely bouncing back. Good site retake from them. In the end there, Martini, 6-2. They're now just 1 round away. I just wonder, maybe Aspect has given up at this point. I certainly hope not.
I mean, it's a tough game. I think they might be thinking, hey, you know, worst case, we go to bronze, we play against, you know, for 3rd place, and that's still some kind of bragging rights here, right? But they're not quite out yet. It's still 1 last round. We can see some crazy clutch plays here, but that's going to be, I said this for Apex, funny enough, last week. This is going to be a very big uphill battle right now for the Aspect players, as they have to play it perfectly for the next 5 rounds, or 4 rounds. We had 5 rounds, otherwise they're out anyways.
Yep.
So it's gonna be looking really rough there. But I mean, we kind of saw a pub play there, right? I'm not gonna lie, we've seen that pub play time and time again on that gym. People just kind of rush in and hope for the best, and we've seen these 2 teams in particular play it against you know, some top tier teams. I think it worked a lot better against F3 last week because they probably weren't expecting it as much. But hey, they now have, you know, Apex was able to do some VOD reviews and say, hey, we know Aspect does this sort of thing, right? So unfortunately, that surprise mechanic isn't quite there. They might need to be doing some more adaptability, honestly, from Aspect here. But Apex has done a great job at adjusting to how Aspect plays, and we can see it here. I mean, 7-3, now 6-2 for Apex.
Martini didn't talk about it, but I will, Bob. What's going on with the economy choices for Apex? Double shoddy here on the defense.
Luna has one. Weirdo has one. I'm confident Luna's going to get a kill with that, because Luna is also a very, very good shotgun player, especially with the Huracan. But I think this particular set of sights lends more to having a bit more range in your shotgun. So I think that's why we saw the Knut investment. But yeah, you can see Luna over in bedroom ready to spring the trap, pinch this Aspect offense a little bit, and this is the last hurrah for Aspect as Weirdo pushes out. Got a little bit too aggressive there. I probably wouldn't do that, as Lynx GTV looking to get that EMP planted, and they almost get it. No, they can't get it in time, and it's now a 4 versus 4, and the EMP now stranded by the Incendiaries, and not good for Aspect.
Quite a bit of incendiary coverage coming in here as Blaze catches the kill, but not before EMP is planted. Ninja Tim backs off, and here comes the full press. Almost a disaster, but they managed to find 1 for 1, 2 for 2. It's a 2v2 now as the EMP is still down. Lightronics and Blaze have to figure out something here and how to get rid of these window defenders.
This is where you play together as a team. Have somebody tap the EMP. Prostone fake Lightronics. You can go for it right now. Get the EMP defuse and go. Banana Man with the collateral. They just took a little bit too long on the defuse there. I think maybe... Martini, do you think maybe Apex took the foot off the gas a little bit there?
I'm gonna be honest.
Making a silly
I'm gonna call
play.
it right now. I'm gonna say it on cast. I think that was a meme round. We saw 2 Knuts come out. We saw Weirdo just full commit send with a Knut in hand, which by the way was also the hot dog skin. I think it might have been a meme round. And I normally would, you know, fight against this sort of thing, but I think Apex is also looking at the fact that they had the 6-3 in pocket. You know, worst case, that doesn't work out. They just have an eco round, and they still have another full buy round they can kind of rely on, which, by the way, they also did win an eco round in the previous map, remember? So it doesn't mean that they can't win this round again, even on the eco. But this is also playing against Aspect with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 assault rifles. And I got to give a shout out, though. I think Allroll came in clutch in that previous round.
Yeah,
Aspect going in with a full team Allroll buy. They said, hey, this is match point. Let's go all in. And it paid off. It paid off. Now they got Marui's in hand, right?
Yeah, they're in a much better situation on the economy side. In comparison, for a meme round, Bob, Apex are in a dire straits. They have to full eco here. Next round, they'll have enough. And if they lose again, the round after that, they'll have enough. But there's some weird economy situations that could occur here where Apex, I guess if they win it all, they'll lock in the series. But it's just Aspect are in control on the economy, and Apex do start off with an early kill, but it's a 1-for-1. Ivis now trapped up top, finds good damage on the faded, but quickly goes down to the swing up from the side from Banana Man.
3 versus 2. Apex have somehow managed to find a couple of kills here as the EMP is getting planted by Banana Man. And it's up to Lightronics and Luna here. Luna has that rifle. The EMP's been planted, and so now these two Apex players are going to have to play off of each other here, find another pick as more hatches get opened up. Banana Man out in family room, faded up on the family room balcony as Lightronics catches Banana Man. And this is suddenly looking like it could be doable. Lightronics securing the Auril. And this would be a power play. I was going to say it could be a power play if Apex managed to find this round too. But faded upstairs, looking for Lightronics, picking up a lot of damage. But Ninja Tim was there with that kill. However, Martini, for an eco round from Apex, that was certainly a pretty good performance. They found 3 picks.
I think it was an anomaly. Let's be quite honest there. I mean, we saw 1, 2, 3. Did I see that correctly? 3 deep roamers coming up from Apex on an off meta push here, which is very uncommon. But here's the thing. Again, last week we saw Aspect pull out so many off meta pushes against F3, and it worked out perfectly because they just weren't expecting it. And I always say, that's why we see these weird plays in playoffs, because teams get so entrenched in very, specific defensive styles or very specific pushes onto these sites. It almost gives them a disadvantage, when a team decides, hey, let's do something else, right? Because now they're no longer prepped for it. And for a team like Aspect, we've seen them time and time again throw in these off meta pushes here. And that's why I think this is where Apex is winning things out, because they can make these adjustments and really do it on the fly and do it very fast and do it in such a way that they still perform so well, because they adjusted their defense there. I mean, who sends 3 deep roamers there? No one does that, but they did. They don't, but they did it there. They adjusted their strategy, and it paid off. Maybe not perfectly, but for an eco round, getting only 2 players left from the Aspect side, that is a net positive for me.
Got to agree with you there. It's a Apex round to lose, quite frankly, as Aspect are looking to continue to, play some pretty good offense, Bob. They're definitely overwhelming their Apex counterparts in the last few rounds. I got to wonder if they can kind of just stick to this energy, this confidence, and put a few more points on the board.
Oh, not a good opening, though, as Lightronics finds the kill on to Ninja Tim. Banana Man goes down to Blaze, and Apex managed to secure some rifles for their team this round. Iben bounces back with a kill on to Blaze. Another incendiarious toss, blocking off some more angles. Lynx GTV is having a go at the gym wall. And Lightronics shutting another one out. Weirdo on the flank upstairs in garage, could drop right down on Iben here. It's now just up to Faded to keep the team alive. They take the high angle, looking to make it a 1v3 catch. What happened? And Luna finds the kill. And Apex are going to be facing off against IVNA tomorrow for the North American Season 3 Breachers VRML Championship.
What a battle this afternoon. And Martini, if I asked you, who do you think's 1 and 2? Who do you think's our finals for Season 3? You'd have told me what? Formula 3 Acer, I think. Again, I would have certainly predicted that. But instead, what do we got? Apex versus... I can't even remember. IVNA. Yeah, it's an IV era. Who knows? It's an Apex era. We're going to find out tomorrow, Martini.
I mean, we saw in this game, right? Apex put up, this is what I was talking about, I think, by Skyscraper towards Hideout. You're going to be playing against IVNA. You're going to be wanting to show out and showcase such strong chops here. And that's what we saw from Apex there. I mean, even losing a couple rounds here, I think, honestly, throwing in a meme round, they still came out very well, right? This is looking like 7, I think it was 7-4, right? 7-4, 7-3 on the first map. These are pretty strong numbers from Apex coming out here. But I'm going to be honest, they're strong numbers. Is it enough, though, to knock out IBNA. But I mean, regardless of whether or not they knock them out, they still get second place, worst case, which is not a bad thing here, right?
No, it's $1,000 and hardware from HyperX, so definitely a big prize pool. All thanks to our sponsors. Quick shout out to Triangle Factory for contributing into that cash prize pool. Shout out to the devs in chat. We do really appreciate the support. So we're not over yet. We still got tomorrow, Bob, and that's going to be bronze and grand finals matchups for both EU and NA all day long. Sunday is maybe going to be even better than today, if you can believe it. With how crazy this postseason has been, I think the grand finals are going to deliver and give us matches that we could have never predicted. I'm really excited about tomorrow and seeing how that pressure of over $2,000 on the line for first place for NA and $1,000 on the line for EU comes into effect, because that's when it really matters, Bob. That's when we get to see it, and it's only a day away. I mean, I know you're excited.
I'm so excited. We had a great round of games today. I mean, it was a lot of fun from both EU and NA. Saw some great clutches, great rounds all around. And then tomorrow, we're in the money rounds. I mean, we're seeing the second place team for North America is going to get $1,000. That first place team, $2,300, $2,300.
Yeah.
As well as a plethora of HyperX gear, and Europe playing for $1,000 over there for first place, $400 for second. I mean, it's just going to be a crazy, crazy day. We're going to see. I mean, we've already seen plenty of breaches VRML history made in season 3.
No kidding.
Let's see what happens tomorrow.
Let's see, indeed. That's going to be it for us here on the desk this afternoon. Thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for EU at, I believe, 8:30 a.m. PST, 11:30 Eastern, and for NA tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. PST, 3 p.m. 5:30 Eastern. Bob's going to double check on those times, but I think I'm right on all of those.
5:30 Eastern, yeah.
Yes, indeed. You're going to want to not miss that action Sunday night. But that'll be it for us here on the desk. My name has been Nightfire with 2 E's. Gibular, Bob, and Martini as my co-casters. We'll see you all tomorrow. Don't miss it. But until then, stay classy. Reacher's VRML is brought to you by Helga, the esports manager, Triangle Factory. Thanks for watching VRML.